In 1962, Honda decided his car should have a test track and gave the responsibilities to Dutchman John Hugenholtz to design what is the figure-of-eight circuit we now know as Suzuka. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to AMX1. We are here for the GT3 class at Suzuka. It is the return of the ACC Championship, and it's a pleasure to have you alongside us this evening for what should be another fantastic race. My name is Evan Dalton. It's a pleasure to have you with me for this evening's action, and joining alongside me for this evening, you heard him a little bit last night, but he's back for more. It is Kevin. Kevin, how are you keeping?
I'm doing great today. Like you said, it was great to be here. Started yesterday with the AMX 10 race, getting to announce that with Connor, and I'm back today. Unfortunately, Connor couldn't make us with us today, but yeah, I'm so excited for this one. This is my first ACC race to commentate on, and I just look forward to the field that we have today.
Yes, it should be a fabulous one. We have got the GT3 cars around Suzuka. It's a nice little combo. It's a real driver's track. The drivers tend to like it. And Kevin, will we be seeing maybe a lot of mistakes, a lot of crashes here this evening around a difficult circuit?
I mean, you know, last week with the ACC, the GT3 races, we had some pretty close racing. We had a few incidents, but as always, I expect it to be a lot of tight races. This is a really iconic circuit, and just the GT3 cars just do well on this circuit, just every single time.
Well, before we do get into some fabulous racing action, which is the whole reason you're here, of course, ladies and gentlemen, we have to run you through a little bit of housekeeping rules. Before we get started with them, we'd like to remind you can check out all our social channels, which are below myself and Kevin now. You can check out our Instagram, Twitch, Twitter, Discord, YouTube, of course, amxrace.com, and our TikTok channel. But let's run you through a little bit of housekeeping then, shall we, ladies and gentlemen? So this, of course, is AMX Global League Season 4. We started on January 27th. We will run until April 21st. The season prize pool, $20,000 and some fabulous next level racing gear. The Assetto Corsa Competizione race format for this evening is, of course, a 20-minute qualifier and a 40-minute race. You got to have one mandatory pit stop as well in that race. But you're all used to that format now. We've been running ACC for quite some time. Driver cams, must have them, absolutely required, and you can join via the link on the AMX Discord or our website. Balances over $100 are paid out each month, and of course we race every Tuesday, Saturday and Sunday. If you're interested already, sign up to race anytime at amxrace.com. So our schedule then, it is of course Tuesdays, Saturdays and Sundays. AMX1 kicks off at 5:50 p.m. GMT, so that is if you are in the United Kingdom, of course, plus an hour for Europe, minus 6 or 7 hours if you're in the United States or thereabouts. It is 5:50 p.m. on Tuesdays, Saturdays and Sundays for AMX1, and then for AMX10, it is 7:20 p.m. GMT as well, of course. Here's your prize pool then for AMX1 ACC. It's a little bit different than our iRacing prize pool that you've been oh so familiar with for the last few seasons. It is $25 if you do finish in first place, $20 for second, then it is $15, $7, $6, $5, $4, then it is $3.50, $3, $2.50, $2, $1.25, $1, 75 cents, and then 50 cents for 15, and $4 as well for the fastest lap, so it is crucial to keep an eye on that one. Total per race, $100. Of course, we don't do reverse grids in ACC, hence why there is no prize pool for qualifying like you might be used to in the iRacing series. Here is your standings in your AMX1 top 12. Conor Healy, top of the standings, the Aussie, one race win in 7 races. He's won $82. And up 2 spots since the last time you saw these standings. Maurizio Lozano is in second, followed by Diogo Villarreal in third. Then it is Facundo Rago in fourth with Lois Reginer in fifth. Mateus Machado in sixth position ahead of Gerardo Ramos in seventh. Then it is Fabian Nogier in eighth position with $43. He's down 1 spot. Leitaro Gayoso is up 2 spots with $40.20. And it is Fabrizio Belziti in 10th ahead of Daniel Antunes in 11th, and Imran Zuhali just staying a steady 12th, but nothing to be sorry about. As you can see here on your screen, the points standings for the season. This is the ACC Championship. So it is Fabien Nogier on 43 points, but still behind Lois Reginaire, who is on 58. It's Imran Zouhali in third, Kevin Lejeune in fourth. Then it is Lucas Werler in fifth, Thibaut Prevost, the Luxembourger, in sixth, with Santiago Barrios in seventh, and Maurizio Lozano in eighth. Nico Godoy in ninth with a surname I usually struggle with, but with 9 points in 10th, it is Markowitsky. Then, of course, we have our current promotions for the season. The D3 promotion, that is purchase entry fees 3 days before the race. You get 30% off to all AMX Season 4 races or season tickets. I say this every week. If you're a bit like myself, you forget to do things, well, just get yourself covered. Get yourself a season ticket. They're available for purchase, and these tickets are for each class for a total of 6. They'll provide 50% off to all races. Check that out on amxrace.com. But let's get back to some more car and track focused action. I'm going to throw it over to Kevin to run you through the circuit and the machines we have on that circuit for this evening.
All right, thank you. And yes, of course, today we are at Suzuka in Japan, the home of the Japanese Grand Prix for Formula One, which, as was mentioned earlier, opened back in 1962 by Honda. It is a 5.8 kilometer track, and with that figure 8 in the middle, this is always such an interesting, such a beautiful layout too of this track. And going on to next, we have a little bit more information coming up about the cars, which ACC Assetto Corsa is known for their GT cars. That is really the bread and butter of these drivers. And today we are we're going to be in the Assetto Corsa GT3 cars. So the GT3 class, these cars go anywhere from 500 to 600 horsepower, rear-wheel drive only, and can weigh anywhere in from about 12 to 1300 kilograms, all mated to a sequential gearbox. So again, just looking, these cars, always a good time. ACC, we should have some really good close racing today, similar to last weekend.
Thank you very much, Kevin. A good insight to the track and circuit here this evening. We're going to be heading into qualifying very shortly, folks, but let us know down below who you are supporting. I saw someone on our chat on the bottom supporting the Bullets, Barrios. I love a good nickname, but that's probably better than anything I've come up with for Santiago, so greatly appreciate your support there with the nicknames. As we can see currently in qualifying, 13 minutes to go, it is Lucas Werler who is at the top out of Coutinho in second position. Then it is Grans in third, Maurizio Lozano in fourth, Leo Mora in fifth. Then it is Tyler McCullough in sixth position. He's just been pipped by Santiago Barrios in sixth. Car choice for this evening is very McLaren dominated.
Yeah, and I realized that too of even last weekend, just the McLarens, a little bit of these technical corners, they just seem to be doing really good in ACC. Oh, and we see a little bit of contact there with Rainier on board. But yeah, so last week, we had Lois Rainier. He was the winner at the end of the race. So we're currently on board. He's sitting in 11th spot, hasn't gotten in a good lap yet, but it looks like this one might be there, and we'll see how he does on qualifying.
Yeah, it's a nice sunny day over the Suzuka circuit. A little bit of cloud coverage, but nothing that these guys will be overly worried about from a weather perspective. We're looking at STL Esports' Lois Reginaire in the picture on your bottom right-hand corner. You can see ultra focused there, currently in 11th, but has not got a time on the board yet. There is waved yellows in this sector, so he's got to be careful about that. Current lap time to beat just under the 2 minute mark. It's a 1:15. Not the time to beat from Lucas Werler, but Lois, your current championship leader here in the ACC Championship, so we'd expect him to be up there near the front. If you want to check out the live timing for yourself, feel free to scan the QR code there on the right hand side of your screen. You can see that popping up from time to time. It is McLaren's, Ferraris, and then the man quickest to the ball actually is in the Lamborghini. So very interesting to see there. In towards the Casio Triangle though, poor Lois has been suffering a little bit with too much traffic here on this lap, and you can see he's dumped out over to the gravel. That's going to be a big ruination of his lap.
Yes, and just about there, we're almost about halfway through qualifying. You can see up in the top, Got 11 minutes to go, so out of our 20-minute qualifying for this race. And just a reminder again, it is just the one race today, unlike the iRacing where we do 2 heats. We only have the single heat today. But now we hop on board with your leader, Lucas Werrell, the Brazilian, who, again, is the only driver today that is in the Lamborghini GT3 car. And let's see if he can keep putting down fast laps. You know, he looks pretty comfortable in there today. See if he can hold this lead or if the other drivers will take it away from him. Here you can see coming in that left-hander going out, and I love these cockpit views from these because, you know, it just gives a little bit of more information of like how realistic these cars get scanned into the game. And you can see up top too of his rear view, and we can see if he gets this qualifying, you know, he may be having to look in that rear view quite a bit to fight off the rest of the drivers.
Yeah, totally agree. Love the cockpit cameras, and I especially love when we have the picture-in-picture on the bottom right as well, because we get to see the virtual cockpit and the real-life cockpit of these sim races. Lamborghini Huracan, of course, the machine of choice for the Brazilian of Lucas Werrell, who is currently in first position. He's got Fabian Nogier right behind him for SDL Esports, the SDL Esports team, a very prominent outfit in the AMX ACC Championship. You'll see a lot of those guys from time to time. You can see then onto the back straight from the run from the spoon curve down towards the famous left-hander of 130, or if you're a Formula 1 fan, you'll very much remember Fernando's exquisite move. And Michael Schumacher around the outside through here. See, they're just using all the curve, not quite flat out in the GT3 car. As we see in the stream chat, a lot of appreciation for the sound of this Lamborghini engine. Totally agree. It sounds exquisite.
Yeah, of course. You know, and that too. Of course, I just love reading chat. We have a few people talking about Lexus. Unfortunately, we don't have any Lexus on here. But that would definitely make for some interesting racing if these games start adding more manufacturers. You know, I mean, they're always constantly updating their rosters, updating their vehicles. And that too, I mean, we can tell here, of course, at the end of the day, it does come down to driver skill. But there are certain cars that suit certain tracks just a little bit better. Some that have a little bit more straightaways, a little bit more technical, tight turns. But overall, we're looking at... Werrell is still at the top with that 1 minute 59.5 seconds, with Nogier about 0.4 seconds behind him. So we can see as camera goes back over to Nogier, they're in second place. See if he can make up that time to cut down on that 0.413 seconds and see if he can get himself up on top.
Oh, he can get himself maybe on top of a barrier. That's gone wrong. That's gone very wrong on the exit of the Dunlop curve of turn number 7. You could see it in his face there in the picture-in-picture, just the slow panic that emerged. Fabian, usually a very emotionless driver. I don't mean that as in emotionless, it just doesn't show his emotions. Except for that time when he crashed and had a bit of a spin off the uphill left-hander, where you can see Coutinho heading through now. There's the yellow flags waving. I would presume that's for the Fabian Nogier. Adriano Coutinho, who you are on board with now, racing for the Omega race team. The lead Ferrari here this evening. You can see, wow, that is a bright room on this picture-in-picture. There's a lot of light going in there. A bit of screen glare maybe he might be suffering with for this evening, but it's nice to see the sun. Lois Reginaire decides, okay, it's about time to set a lap time. He goes quickest in the McLaren, 1:49.5, only by 700s. Oh no, Lucas Werrell beats him. Lucas Werrell pips him in that Lamborghini. He's now down to the 0.3s. Lois Reginaire entered the pit straight away. Obviously felt, okay, this lap's good enough. Nope, was beaten about 10 seconds later.
Yeah, and that too is we could just see the lead was lost for qualifying and then gained right back. So, I mean, just looking at that alone, that tells us we're going to definitely be having a really good close race, especially towards that top position. I know these guys are going to be battling it out. Right now, you know, just only a couple of tenths off each other. But yes, as right now, still with Coutinho in the Ferrari. And I'm a little bit biased here, just because I have raced primarily Ferrari vehicles in the GT3 competitions. Of course, in iRacing, not as much in ACC, but just the same thing. These guys, you see, they're just that focus. Down in the bottom right-hand corner, Adrian Patino from Omega Race Team. I'm sorry, I get a little bit distracted once I start watching the drivers too. It's just always great to see their expressions. I know
I wasn't laughing at you, Kevin, just in case you thought it was Adriano gave us a thumbs up down the middle of the straight. He leaned down and gave us a thumbs up to his camera. I knew we were on board with him. So hyper-focused, I suppose, is the Ferrari drivers. This is Nico Couto. Oh, that's off and into the wall, and that's a crash in towards the right-hand barrier, heading through the S-curves. About turn number 4, I believe that was. He'll be heading back to the pit lane. This is Tyler Carr, who we're looking with. 2 Tylers on the grid here this evening, Tyler Carr and Tyler McCullough, and they're both teammates, funnily enough. That is a weird coincidence. You can see Tyler Carr looking all around his multi-monitor setup. By the looks of it, very fancy indeed. This is another thing we get to enjoy with these longer formatted races. We can just admire the sim gear that they all have, and Tyler Carr with a nice little piece of tech there all in his 2 hands. Here comes Carr then, ready for the final corner. Is he going to improve on his lap time? No, not for now, unfortunately. Currently 2.3 seconds off, but 2.3 seconds is not as big a gap as you might think. This is a 2-minute lap time. It's a very complex lap time, although it might only be a 5.8 kilometer circuit. You might be saying, oh well, it's not Le Mans, it's not the Nordschleife. It is very difficult in these GT3 cars, and we have seen that already in qualifying, and we will see how difficult it is throughout the course of the evening.
Yes, and as you mentioned earlier, both Tylers on the same team, and that is one thing for our viewers just to take into consideration of being in some of these races. When you do have teammates working together, that can just make it that much harder for you to try and get past them, especially a lot of times if they can get close together on the grid or close together on the racetrack, they will do everything that they can to stick together, to not let the other drivers pass, use that slipstream to help shoot each other through, gain a couple places. It's especially on these back straights that you really get those high speeds, get those late braking, use a few techniques. But yeah, so Tyler still sitting in the 7th position, and as we go to Granet, I apologize if I pronounce his name incorrectly, is currently sitting in 6th position, the number 23 McLaren.
Don't worry about pronunciation of names. AMX is pretty much where the commentators make an absolute mockery of people's surnames, and then they make funny TikToks about us. That's the way it's gone in previous seasons, and I'm sure that trend will continue. But we can see one of many McLarens heading in towards the first turn. That is its official name, according to the Suzuka Racing Circuit. Bit of a fun fact about the Suzuka Racing Circuit, actually, that's completely unrelated to racing. But if you feel love is in the air when you're here during the Formula 1 race, or during any of the Super Formula events, you can actually have your wedding here. They host weddings on the main straight. So if you're feeling that's something you're interested in, I'm sure you can contact the circuit. But yes, you can get married on the main straight in Suzuka. Isn't that a racing lover's ultimate dream? Who needs the Eiffel Tower? We have 130R.
Oh yeah, I mean, as an American, I've seen so many people in motorsports not only just love Japan and all of their racetracks, but I'm sure I know a few people that they would be pretty keen on wanting to get married at a racetrack. So now I'll let them know, hey, look up Suzuka, contact them, see if you can get married in Japan on a racetrack. I know as an American, there's a lot of people here too that we have probably one of our couple different ones of Laguna Seca, also Daytona. Those are some of our most renowned racetracks that people love.
Yard of Bricks. I'd love to get married in the Yard of Bricks.
That would be amazing.
Absolutely.
So I was still on here.
While the race is going, act as a hazard. They have to go around the wedding before turn number 1.
Yes, as the race is going.
Probably try to do.
Okay, now we're back on second place with Lucas Werl, the Brazilian from Team Iron Lynx. And right now he is, again, seen in second place. We've seen the Lamborghini up earlier that was in first place. Has just gone down a little bit, down to Regnier. And it looks like he is just about 0.2 of a second off right now. So these guys keep getting faster and faster as the time keeps coming to an end. Now in the final minutes of the qualifying, we'll see who can put down the final lap time to get that top spot.
Yes, it is Lois Regnier who is still on the top, and we can see actually a bit of a late joiner. That's Markowski, Mikael Markowski, who is in 12th position. So it's good to see we'll have an extra runner for the race, but it is Lois Regnier who is currently on top in qualifying. We are looking at the newly named Bullet, Santiago the Bullet Barrios, heading in towards the Casio Triangle of turn number 17 and 18, running through the final corners. Let's see what he can do in his final lap of the qualifying session. Well, no, he might actually have time for one more if he's enough fuel in the car. Down towards the start, finished straight and in towards turn 1. Seems like this will be his push lap attempt. Lucas Wehler goes quickest actually in the Lamborghini. He is once again pipped Lois Regnier. This will be, that was Barrios' last lap time, because the max wait time is only a minute. Lap time is longer than a minute. So Lois Regnier pipped right at the end. There is only 500ths between those two. It is a 59.1 for Lucas Wehler, and then a 59.15 for Lois Regnier. So unbelievably close between those two at the top. Unfortunately for Santiago, this lap will mean pretty much nothing.
Yes, and we can see there too we had a bunch of racers already in the pits, just saying, you know what, I got a good enough qualifying time. I'm happy where I'm sitting. I'm just gonna chill out, get ready for the race, you know, get that mental preparation. But here we go. Qualifying is now coming to a close. And we will see as our drivers get ready to hit the grid. You know, especially here, I expect these first couple of corners, we've seen there in qualifying a few of these guys really being aggressive. So now too, it's always that first lap cold tires.
Well, here's your full qualifying results, and it is Lucas Wehler who is on pole position in the Lamborghini Huracan GT3 Evo. Goes to show you can be quick in something other than the McLaren and a Ferrari. And ACC Championship leader Lois Regnier is in second position ahead of Fabien Nogier in third. Then it is Adriano Coutinho. And he a thumbs up in qualifying. I wonder will he be feeling as positive with a fourth place start. Then it's Greniers in fifth with Maurizio Lozano in sixth position. Then it is Tyler Carr in seventh ahead of Leo Mora in eighth. Santiago Barrios in ninth ahead of Tyler McCullough in 10th position. And then the two late joiners were Nico Godoy and Mikael Markowski. Very interesting grid, this one, and very intriguing to see the Lamborghini quickest of the three cars on display here.
Yeah, that's surely gonna, I'm sure, playing to some of these other people too, of maybe that they're just used to the McLaren. We've seen a few of these people keep the same car no matter what track they're on. So now that we do have also McLaren leading, let's see if that changes people's minds about looking into their cars a little bit more. I mean, obviously you always want to race whatever you're most comfortable with, but when you just start seeing that, it just starts getting in your head a little bit of, maybe I should practice a few laps in a Lamborghini, or maybe I should go to the Ferrari, just make a few practice before we end up heading to the race on the weekends. But looks like here we go, again, getting ready to grid up here and getting ready for the green flag.
Yes, it'll be a rolling start, of course, here at Suzuka. Just like we have had all ACC season. A reminder of your standings is Lois Regnier ahead of Fabien Nogier. Then it is Imran Zuhali, not here this evening. Kevin Lejeune, not here this evening either. Ahead of Lucas Wehler in 5th position. We will be going racing in about 15 seconds. Well, sorry, we'll be starting the run to the line in about 15 seconds' time. Kevin, prediction from you, I think. Who do you think is going to take this one?
I mean, that's a really tough one. Like we said, the back and forth, all of qualifying, your top two races right there. But I think I'm going to have to say it's going to be Regnier coming out on top. You know, he came out on top last week, and he's just been very consistent. If that is one thing you can count on from Lois, it is that he is consistent.
A big thing we saw in Imola as well, which was 2 races ago, was actually stop-go penalties. They played a huge part in deciding the winner of the race. Remember, one mandatory pit stop can leave you in some pit stop jeopardy, and whether you get a drive-through for speeding in the pit lane. It's a bit of a difficult pit entry here at Suzuka, but we will see how these drivers tackle it. 18 corners, 5.821 kilometre circuit. We've got 40 minutes of racing, and as we exit the Casio Triangle and the last curve, it will be the Brazilian of Lucas Wehrle who will get us started in his Lamborghini Huracan. Lois Regner is on the outside for STL Esports. He has got his stablemate Fabien Nogier right behind. The red lights are just beaming down the drivers, and they'll get ready to go green at any moment. Towards the start-finish line, eagerly awaiting the go here.
Green light,
40 minutes.
go.
And now we go racing here in Suzuka. That's a brilliant start from Lois Regner down towards turn number 1. Great start from Nogier right behind him. Regner on the outside. Here are Lucas Wehrle. And Lucas Wehrle is unfortunately losing the lead here, I feel. That is Lois Regner who's got them around the outside in the McLaren. And he is up into the race lead. So the Lamborghini not getting off the line the best. And that is the championship leader up into the start. It's a clean start. In the backpack, though, doesn't seem to be many losing positions. Tyler Carr looking to make a move, maybe on Maurizio Lozano.
Yes, and with that, especially first lap, we still have a little bit of cold tires. It is always awesome to see how when these guys are just dialed in. We had a clean first couple of turns. Usually that's kind of known for having a little bit of lockups, having a little bit of a loss of grip, and causing some kind of wreckage. We had that yesterday in some of our AMX races, but so far today, some really good clean raining. And oh no, we have a car off on the side with a yellow flag. Looks like that is going to be Nico Godoy. They're dropping back to the last place.
Yeah, very unfortunate for Nico Godoy in the 79. Had a good race start, was up a few positions, but he's now down to the back of the grid, having some problems. Unfortunately, is Nico Godoy, and he will remain in 12th position. But it is Lois Regner who is out the front in the all-black McLaren, ahead of Lucas Wehrle in the 19 Lamborghini Huracan. Then it is Nogier, Grains, Adriano Coutinho, Maurizio Lozano, and it is Leo Mora, Tyler Carr, Santiago Barrios, Tyler McCullough. Then it is Mikael Markowski in 11th, and you can see a bit of movement. Actually, Fabien Nogier is now dropping down the order himself, so he is down to 12th position. Is Nogier. We'll have to find out what happened to him in a few moments' time, as Adriano Coutinho is now promoted to 4th because of that. A lot of incidents on that opening lap, it seems, with Godoy and Nogier both falling to the back.
Yes, and of course, like we say, the commentators curse just as soon as we start saying how clean and how good these drivers are without having any of the incidents. It looks like we ended up still having a couple of incidents there during lap 1. Right now, we are on board with Adriano Coutinho from Omega Racing. And he's only about 0.4 seconds off the 3rd place, so he's really looking to see if he can squeeze out a little bit of grip into these sharp corners. Let's see if he's able to stick it on the back of Granez, the McLaren, Ferrari versus McLaren fight going on right now. He's really eager to get up into that podium spot. But again, mandatory pit stops this race, so that can always have a huge effect, even though we're having a pretty steady running order right now.
Yes, and one driver already serving his mandatory pit stop, and one driver picking up a 30-second stop go. That is Nico Godoy in the 79, who came into the pit lane at the end of the first lap, and he'll be going straight back in for that stop-go penalty. You can see there on your timing tower to the left-hand side, the little SG30. That indicates a stop-go penalty. So Godoy and Markowski serving their pit stops. Markowski more successful in the Ferrari, and he won't have to serve a penalty. Undercut was very powerful in our season opener here in the ACC Championship at Spa-Francorchamps, so we do need to keep an eye on Markowski. Might not be out of this one just yet, but Lois Regner still with a comfortable lead. 1.5 seconds being the gap. The championship leader is performing well here so far at Suzuka.
Yeah, like you said, we kind of made our predictions a little bit early on, and so far he is proving to, again, just be very consistent. And we'll see if he kind of stays up in the lead this whole time. You know, that 1.5 second gap kind of getting a little bit out of the slipstream of the other drivers. So as long as he can keep it clean and consistent, I have a feeling that he might be holding that spot for the next 35 minutes. Of course, we're still here on board in fourth place, the battle for third between Adriano Coutinho and Granate. That two still closing the gap a little bit, been around that half second, you can see closing in, falling back just a little bit. So you can see if Granate is just getting a little bit better runs out of these corners. Coutinho kind of braking a little bit late, but you know, that's just really, you know, that difference of getting that entry versus exit speed on these runs.
As you can see, heading into the two Degner curves, of course named after the 1962 125cc world champion Ernst Degner, the German rider. You can see David Grimes just getting so close to Lucas Wehrle. It seems like Wehrle struggling in the early race pace. He was struggling in the early race pace a few races ago at Imola as well, but maybe not as much as this. It seems like Grimes is performing excellently here so far, in third position. He is the second McLaren here, as the Ferraris currently 4th, 5th, 6th and 12th. Of course, car choice does not necessarily mean they're teammates. Everyone has open car choice here in the ACC Championship. Those with the letters beside their names usually means teammates, so you can see Grains, McCullough and Tyler Carr all in the same team. That is Fear Nothing Moto. Of course, as here is the Santiago Barrios incident. Oh, bit of a lunge down the inside, ended up in a half spin. That's look, it's not great. It's not a great move at all from Santiago Barrios, and unfortunately he's paid the price from it.
Yes, that was just an unfortunate incident there that, you know, again, just close racing, you get a little too aggressive sometimes, and that is the result. But it looks like here, this battle is still going on between your third and fourth position. Closing that gap down from about half a second now to that 0.3. So you can really see sticking it to that bumper. I'm just waiting for Granate to make a mistake. That way, you know, Adriano Coutinho hopefully being able to just come in. And, you know, that is one big thing that when you have drivers that are this good, a lot of it is you know, hey, you're hitting your line, you're trying to make sure that you're watching the person behind you. But at the same time, a lot of times it comes down to just being patient, sitting back. Of course, in these, you know, longer races, a 40-minute race, you're just waiting for that person in front of you, make a little bit of mistake, and then put your nose in where you can and just take advantage of that. It looks like now just running a little bit wide, and Grenade just pulling away just a little bit.
We see the American Tyler McCullough under a little bit of pressure here in towards the hairpin. Oh, he's actually slowing. He is actually slowing. That is Fabien Nogier, who is cutting back through the field. I wonder if Tyler just cut his losses early and decided, I'm just going to let Fabien through, he is much quicker than me, or if there was a bit of a car problem there. It didn't seem like it, because he's back on the power very quickly and back up to speed pretty much instantly, so not too sure what's going on there for McCullough, but he's down to 7th, still ahead of Leo Mora by 10 seconds, though, so it'll be promising for him, as we see Adriano Coutinho putting David Grains under huge pressure in towards the Casio Triangle. This will be the closest battle on the field from the McCullough-Nogier little train, of course, but I can't see McCullough going for a move there, as this is the battle for P8 between Leo Mora and Santiago Barrios. Oh, he's not, surely he's not going to be brave enough to go for it in towards 131. No, he's not. Just sits behind for the time being. That would have been maybe AMX overtake of the season if he had gone for that one. That was mental.
Yes, and of course, like we said, we're still on camera there, the battle for P8 going on in the back. And that's one great thing about some of these longer tracks is we've seen yesterday, and of course we've been seeing it all season, both AMX1 and AMX10 races, that just because you're not paying attention to the front runners all the time, you know, there are battles going on throughout the pack. As right now, as too, speaking of battles, here on the main screen too, just back again in that third place. A little bit more of a gap, but they are still holding on to each other with Granate and Coutinho. And again, Lois Regnier is just sitting comfortable, just up in that top spot. He still has also the fastest lap of the session with the 1:59. Looks like a lot of these guys now are kind of battling it out. May have had a little bit of slowdowns here and there, running a couple seconds slower than the leader right now.
Ooh. Fabien Nogier has picked up a drive-through penalty. I'm not overly sure what that's for, but he has picked up a drive-through penalty, and he will have to come into the pit lane to serve that. Very disappointing for Fabien. His team boss, Kevin Leun, in the street chat just cheering him on. He won't really like what he just saw in terms of Fabien picking up a drive-through, but that's disappointing because his pace has been really good. He's already cut back up to 4th or to 6th place in 4 laps. He'll have to do it again, unfortunately. We're only 10 minutes into the race, though. Still plenty that could happen. But it is looking like this is going to be a Lois Regnier runaway victory.
Yes, and again, just unfortunate. Just like that, as you can see, just having a bit of a penalty, that can absolutely just change your entire race. Right now, 10 minutes in, as you mentioned, we are back on board with David Granes, the number 23 from Fear Nothing Moto. And we mentioned earlier the other Fear Nothing Moto drivers, both Tylers, that they are looking like all 3 teammates on here today. So looking like getting the whole Fear Nothing Moto team building up into the ACC, kind of working together, seeing what you can do here in that 3rd spot. And you can see there in the bottom right-hand corner, just the driver cam.
That's another good thing about ACC. We get to see some different drivers and different teams. Like, peak of ACC.
Okay, but yeah, David Grenade, Fear Nothing Moto, along with his other 2 teammates, Tyler McCullough, Tyler Carr, and right now that gap is closed a little bit, looking for Coutinho down to about 0.2 seconds. Again, I feel like we are going to have this battle just keep going throughout the entire race. Again, we will see if what strategy they choose here. From going into the pits, you know, some guys wait towards the end of the race, say, hey, you know what, my tires are still good. Or if they're pushing a little bit much, you know, those tires just getting over here and say, yeah, I'm go to fresh tires. But again, your leader, Regnier, now about almost 3-second gap between him in 1st place and 2nd place. So oh no, we had a spin there with Coutinho. All right, I'm sure that's not good.
Very disappointing for the Ferrari of Coutinho there to spin around at the Casio triangle. He is off the circuit now behind Maurizio Lozano. I think I saw a bit of damage as well potentially for the Ferrari. There was certainly some form of debris flying over the chicane, and that is Coutinho down to 5th place. Very disappointing. We've seen a lot of incidents here at Suzuka.
Yeah, so far, not even halfway through the race yet, and we've seen just a few of those incidents that so far just changing up the order of this race. But like we said, that is just how it is in this GT3 class, you know. You say that you know what it's going to happen, and unfortunately, you just never see. So we have there Tyler McCullough going into the pits, and this will be, of course, also using his mandatory pit stop, and he is off. So it's going in right now. We'll see if he's going to try and make back a few places. Kind of been in the middle of the pack. That's also the stop and go. Okay, stop and go penalty. That's being served there as well. Or, well, I'll have to see. As you guys can see on the timing tree on the left-hand side, still has that SG30. We'll see if that was cleared up or if maybe, perhaps, he had been speeding through the pits and will actually have to serve that. Oh, okay. So he has been given that. So he'll have to, unfortunately, go back into the pits again.
We had cleared off all the penalties. We had the penalties cleared, and unfortunately McCullough's picked up another one. Another quick thing is Fabien Nogier has actually retired from the will play no further part in this one, which is disappointing because it's a trend we see continuing from some races when the going does get tough, as we see a stop-go then for Tyler McCullough. Adriano Coutinho is on the back of Maurizio Lozano here, looking to make a move.
Yes, and as you mentioned, it's always unfortunate to see a driver end up retiring in the middle of a race, especially he was doing so well, and even last week had that P2 last week from Niger. But as we go back on to Adriano Coutinho, who, as we've seen earlier, had a bit of a spin out. He's back on track now, holding on to that 5th position, only 0.8 seconds behind Lozano, who both of these racing in the Ferraris today. And so we should see pretty closely matched here. And if you look on the time tree as well, you could already see nearly half of the drivers have taken their mandatory pit stop today. So they're going to be trying to also catch back up to these packs. A little bit spread out here today, though.
Yes, as we see here is Coutinho looking right on the close as we head up towards the hairpin. Big launch down the inside from the Ferrari on Maurizio Lozano. Lozano going to try the little up and under here as the Mexican. No little bit of right rear to front left contact between the two, and that will be Adriano Coutinho up towards 4th position. So he is making inroads into the position he was once in, and in the battle with David Grains for 3rd. That is Coutinho. Good move down the inside and up towards 4th position. We are about 4 minutes off the halfway point of this race. 6 drivers still to make their mandatory pit stops. Those, of course, are your race leader Lois Vichner, Lucas Huela, David Grains, then Adriano Coutinho and Maurizio Lozano, as well as Leo Mora, Barrios, Markowski, McCullough, Carr and Godoy, all serving those pit stops. But most of them also got a penalty, so we could see more penalties for those in the top 6. That'll be something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, just unfortunately that does seem like that's been the theme here today, of just seeing a little bit more penalties than we have in the past, being nearly 20 minutes in. So we got still 23 minutes left on the clock, and there's a replay in the bottom right of Coutinho spinning out. Just looks like you just carry a bit too much speed in there, and just when you're at that, you're just kind of at the mercy of the car, You're just thinking, oh, here I go. Let's just hope I don't slam into a wall. Hope I don't lock it up too much. And we can see Rene's now in the pits. He's currently in P5, dropping down to P6. But again, this will be his mandatory pit stop. So let's see if he can gain that position right back once he gets back on track.
Seems happy enough with the service, does David. Back into the sim rig and off again on another endeavour around this Suzuka circuit. If you're just joining us, welcome along, folks. This is the AMX1 ACC Championship. We're currently about 18 minutes or so in towards this evening's race. It was Lucas Ware that took pole position for Lamborghini, but Lois Vichner has led from turn 1 until now, 8 laps under his belt with a 3.4 second lead. Although it seems comfortable for Vichner, it's not really. Lucas is doing a good job. He's losing a minuscule amount of time, nothing major, and he is keeping relatively close to Lois up the front. One mistake from Vichner and this race is all open again.
Yeah, and that too. Let's see, still on board. Granny, it's just having a clean lap so far, and this track, I just love all of these scenic shots. This track is absolutely beautiful. The design of it to make it such an iconic design, and a fun fact about that too, that in the original plans, there were actually 3 crossovers in the original design versus the one now, and that, of course, is having a little bit of that figure 8 is what makes Suzuka one of these iconic tracks. We can see now Coutinho, right here on camera, still in 3rd place with the 2 drivers behind him, Lozano and Leo Mora, looking to catch up a little bit. But Coutinho is still holding well in that 3rd place. Had that spin earlier, was able to get those couple positions back up. And let's see, has about a 16-second gap right now between 2nd and 3rd place. But again, these drivers up front still have not taken their mandatory pit stop. So we'll see if that strategy comes into play as we are reaching 19 minutes into this race. David Grandes, Fear Nothing Moto, back onto the home stretch.
Yes, we are almost, well, we're 50 seconds off the halfway point in the ACC round of this evening. A reminder, Lois Regnier was your championship leader coming into this one. He had 58 points, and he's looking to pick up big points haul here this evening. You can see him on his picture-in-picture. A very focused driver is Lois. We'll ride on board down towards 130. Let's have a listen in, just hear the car push through this corner. You can see there just minimal lift for Lois Regnier, just making sure he's gaining the absolute maximum lap time possible. In a couple of tenths on this lap as well to Lucas Werner. We'll see as he crosses the line what lap it will be. Currently holds the fastest lap. Remember, there is a $4 prize pool for the fastest lap of the race, and Lois currently picking up that, meaning he would take the absolute maximum that is available for this evening's race if he could do so.
And that too, as we had seen on the cockpit camera there too, he was running the ultra-wide monitor. We have a lot of people running ultra-wide, single monitors, doing the triple monitor setup. Even some people that have been in some of the races using VUR. That also seems to be growing in popularity. But now we are on the number 19 driver of Lucas Werl in second place for Team Iron Lynx. Only about 4 seconds behind Lucas Regnier. So, of course, he is still in contention for this. You know, if Regnier gets a penalty or makes a mistake, that could really open up the room for Lucas Werl to go and start battling for that P1 spot. Again, he was top of qualifying. Him and Regnier were going back and forth the entire qualifying, just a 10th here, a 10th there. And now he's sitting comfortably in that second position. And as you can see here on the inboard camera, kind of in a good idea of mirroring exactly what we're seeing from his camera onto the inboard camera right there too.
Fair play to the directors. That's about as close as you could get it to recreate Lucas Werner in the game. Obviously not wearing a helmet in real life. Can't imagine how warm it would get if you were sim racing with a helmet on. You see those funny videos doing it all the time, but I can't imagine anyone does it in real life. Lucas is a driver who strives for perfection, so you wouldn't be happy with second, obviously wants first, but second, not a bad result at all. Here is Adriano Coutinho in third place, comfortably for the moment, but I imagine that could all change after the pit stops. 18 minutes to go, still 5 drivers come into the pit lane. Remember, we saw in Imola, I keep referring to Imola, that's because I wasn't here last race, apologies folks, but we saw everything change in literally the last minute when Fabien Leger waited until the last lap to pit and then got given a 30-second penalty, and that was race done for him. So anything can change. It is not over until that checkered flag drops and everyone's past it.
Yes, and of course for those just tuning in, unfortunately Nugier, he was doing really well in this race, but he has since retired from the race. That is why you're no longer seeing him on the timing tree on the left-hand side. But he was doing really well. But unfortunately, like we say, that is racing. You never know what is going to happen. Just you can have a mistake that ends your whole racing day. Or even sometimes, you know, we see with some of these drivers, obviously being online, some people disconnect. We've had that happen a couple times. Not so much here on the ACC here, as we've seen on the iRacing, but of course, you know, that's bound to happen. Just having more races in iRacing than ACC, you're bound to see a little bit more happen. But now we are back on board with your leader, Lois Regnier, the number 25 from the all-black McLaren.
And I believe he has just lapped Nico Godoy, which is insanely impressive considering it's a 2-minute lap time around here. That's obscene. Lois Regnier is on a different planet here this evening in this race. He is just pushing to his heart's content, lapping about 7/10 off his personal best, lapping about lapping about a second maybe off his qualifying time, which wasn't good enough for second. It was only 500ths behind the pole time, mind you. As I thought he was going to come into the pit lane there. Still 2 service pit stop. We do see, though, these guys can do almost a full race on this set of tyres. I think AMX are going to have a look at the rules maybe for next season in terms of whether you need a tyre swap or not, or whether the tyre degradation settings or something along those lines. But these guys, with their skill, almost able to do a full 40-minute race on one set of tyres, which is also ultra impressive.
Yes, and just that, I was reading chat and everyone just saying, oh yes, he is just like Max Verstappen was yesterday. Of course, we do have Max Verstappen does drop in the AMX races time to time, and it makes it just that more interesting, him along with his Team Red Line drivers in the AMX 10 races. But yeah, he did really well yesterday. I know we are on the GT3 cars today, but just a quick talk about F1. You know, everyone kind of predicted that from last season, and he's doing it again. So for all of you Formula One fans, if you're a Red Bull fan, I'm sure you're over the moon right now seeing how great things going. If you're not a Red Bull fan, I'm sorry. I hope things get better this season.
Yeah, first F1 race around Suzuka was in 1987. Saw Nigel Mansell suffer a very heavy crash in qualifying. That ruled him out of the race and handed the title to his rival Nelson Piquet. So a bit of F1 trivia here. Michael Schumacher, of course, the most successful driver around Suzuka with 6 wins. Hamilton has 5, and McLaren, the most successful team with 9 in Formula 1. McLaren leading here in the form of Lois Richter. We're looking at Leo Mora heading down towards the Degner curves of turn number 8 and turn number 9. Degner 1, of course, being turn number 8. This one. And then just sliding it through in towards Degner 2, turn number 9. Leo Mora. Very nice livery on that Ferrari, actually. It's different. It's not your traditional Ferrari livery, but still nice nonetheless. So, fair play to the Omega Racing team for producing something nice. This is Tyler Carr in 9th position. Very fitting surname for a sim racer, I think.
And Tyler Carr right here on board. Running that triple monitor setup in the number 69 car, nice, for Fear Nothing Moto. Right now, currently sitting back in 9th place. He's about 2 laps down, but he has taken his mandatory pit stop. You know, we've seen earlier some of these drivers, unfortunately, spending a little bit more time. I think from now, compared to the earlier races in the season, I think some of these people that were getting used to ACC compared to iRacing, some of the other drivers as well, were having a little bit too much time in the pits, maybe getting a little bit too much fuel when they didn't want to. But these guys that are, you could definitely see the experience in the ACC today from all of these drivers, just really putting on a good show so far. Spaced out just a little bit, but now with Mikhail Markowski in the number 7 car for Team FDRS, currently sitting in 8th place. Well, had a little bit of left and right there, looking like he's just might be flipping up a little bit of grip, but he is still doing pretty well. Going to that left-hander right there, and back on the throttle, and nothing sounds better. I know a lot of people, it's the debate of that exhaust sound or just hearing the sound of those straight cut gears on these sequential transmission vehicles. I personally just, man, especially being a rally fan, just hearing these onboards and that sequential of like, you cannot hear anything else while you're in the cockpit.
Let's have a listen to on board the Ferrari on the run down towards 130R. The GTP Cadillac.
Okay, and it sounds like we had a little bit technical issues, but we're back now. Yes, on board with Michael Makowski and Evan. What were you going to say again about the Ferrari?
Yeah, I think Enzo Ferrari decided to cut my mic before I I spread a load of anti-Ferrari propaganda, so I'll hold that thought for the moment.
But of course, still on board with Mikhail Murkowski, running the number 7 all-white Ferrari right here. And that is one thing I've seen a little bit different from ACC compared to iRacing. Of course, you see a lot of these iRacing drivers with just absolutely crazy liveries. Especially, sometimes seeing some of these races, they have their professional team livery, or they'll just be doing it for the memes with something absolutely crazy. But now, Lucas Werl, the number 19 car in the Lamborghini, again, the only Lamborghini on the field today, still sitting in that second place. Now the gap between him and Regnier is about almost 6 seconds, about 5.8 seconds. So we have that, and of course, see people in the comments too of preferring that V10 sound compared to the turbo V6 from the Ferrari GT3 cars.
Yeah, V10s are just beautiful, aren't they? You can't go wrong with a V10 engine sound. In terms of this race, though, we've just crossed the 10-minute to go mark. We are 3/4 of the way through, still awaiting 5 pit stops from the top 5. That's Lois Regnier, Lucas Werl, Adriano Coutinho, Maurizio Lozano, and Leo Mora. We're looking at Lucas Werl in second position. And for the Iron Lynx team, the Brazilian, running a steady race, 6.4 seconds behind Lois Regnier. He'll be hoping something goes wrong for Lois in the pit lane, because that may allow him to get back in this race for a potential race win. How he would love to win this race here today, because it has been a steady drive from him, mind you. And we will await and see what happens here for Lucas Werl, as we have a lovely off-board shot of that Lamborghini.
Yes, and that too, speaking of Regnier, still sitting in first place. He is currently roughly about half a second to 3/4 second faster each lap. So even though, we are 30 minutes into this race, he's still being very consistent with those tires, even though tires are starting to wear down a little bit by this point in the race. He still has not gone in for his pit stop. So we'll see if he tries to play for the strategy of waiting till that last lap or the last couple of laps to go in for the pits. Just going to try and get that gap as big as he can, or perhaps also, just waiting to see if, Werl goes in before him or after him, and that can definitely play into his timing. But here we are again on board with your leader. You can see just the lovely ultra-wide monitor running on there, and currently on lap 15 that we are already 15 laps in. So you can just see again how long this track is, taking about 2-minute laps here today. And yeah, we are he just looks so comfortable, especially too, some drivers, you could tell feeling the pressure in their first place, because sometimes you start losing a little bit of timing whenever you don't have the person right behind you to push it. But that is not a problem at all today for Lois Regnier. No,
he's just enjoying it. It's a nice Sunday drive, literally, for Lois Regnier. No hassles whatsoever for SCL Esports. He's had no issues so far in this Suzuka race. Well, now everything could go wrong for him, because that's probably the biggest commentator's curse I may have ever given. If he spun here, that would be ridiculous on my part. We have finally broken the schism in the pitters and non-pitters. Maurizio Lozano is into the pit lane for Ferrari. Let's see if all goes well for him in towards to get his service. The pink and black Ferrari, a bit of a peculiar coloured Ferrari, but lovely nonetheless. Let's see, can he get in and out without a penalty? That's kind of the biggest game at play here. A lot of buttons on that centre console in the Ferrari, but Lozano doesn't look panicked in his picture-in-picture. Looks to be okay. If he was very angry looking, we would think he did get a penalty. No, he's got out penalty-free. So Lozano still maybe in the running for a good result here. 6 minutes to go. Still a lot of uncertainties around this one, potentially.
And they're just having a clean pit stop. I know everyone's seen the memes of, hey, he's riding in the Ferrari. So when you're in the Ferrari, you never know how that pit stop might go. Of course, referring to F1, you know, a lot of controversy there. And now we have Nico Godoy heading back into the pits. So we'll see if he is serving a penalty because he has already done his mandatory pit stop.
Yeah, that's a weird one.
And you could just see Nico Godoy there on the bottom right. Not looking too happy. He's just, you know, obviously no one likes sitting in that last spot, but you know, kudos to Nico Godoy, still making it in this race and especially being consistent. He's been in a lot of these AMX1 races this season, and I've got to also race alongside him in a couple of them. Someone asking, is Nico's McLaren broken? I guess we will have to see on that.
There's something wrong with it, considering how this race has gone, maybe. But I couldn't confirm nor deny if it is actually broken. But 5 minutes to go here in this race. 5 minutes to go, and we still have 4 pitters. They're probably going to have to do that soon, because remember, it is about a 2-minute lap time. If we look at the timing screen, they are lapping over the 2-minute mark. Lois Regnier are just about 6/10 over, but they are lapping over the 2-minute mark. They're looking into the pits. Probably this lap, we could have a flurry of action in the Suzuka pit lane come the end of this lap.
Yeah, again, that too, like you mentioned, coming up on the last couple of laps here. We're now under 5 minutes. So does Regnier, does he wait until the last possible second, or does he play it a little bit safe and go into the pits at the end of this lap? There you can see Leo Mora now going into the pits, currently in 6th place. And we'll see, does he get a good, clean pit stop as well? The Omega Racing team driver, number 30, also running in the Ferrari today. And he's into the pits.
Here he is, stop and the long hold, as some racing drivers like to describe it as. Obviously there won't have to be a lot of fuel or anything going into the car, as well we only have about 2 laps left. But let's see, out of the pits comes Leo Mora. Is it going to be all good on the Western Front? Yes it is. No penalties for him, he's out and into, oh, is he into a bit of clean air? No, he's just behind us. Here is your second place man, Lucas Weller, the sole Lamborghini, is into the pit lane, and this is make or break for his race. Sup of water on some driver fuel, needs to get some car fuel, and then out onto the circuit. He doesn't look flustered, so maybe not speeding into the pit lane, but we don't really find out until he exits in. Stop. This is where it all went wrong for some drivers, as we are seeing the flurry in. Yeah, here comes Coutinho.
Yeah, and Coutinho, so he was also doing it on there. So, like we mentioned earlier, Regnier is just waiting until the last possible moment just to get as much of a gap as he can between him and Lucas Guerrero. Oh no, and a drive-through, it looks like.
So unfortunate for Lucas Guerrero. It's a drive-through penalty, and that's any podium chance gone. Fabulous if your name is Coutinho, because you've just inherited 2nd place if your pit stop is clean. But Lucas Guerrero, bad luck, strikes again, and the Lamborghini man will fall down the order here a little bit. But that still just goes to show you that anything could happen in terms of the race win here for Lois Regnier. He's not made his pit stop. He's going to do it heading on to his final lap of the race. And that's where we saw it went wrong in Imola for a couple of drivers. This is going to be an intriguing ending to the AMX1 ACC Championship here. These ACC races, they might be a slow burner, but they really do get dramatic come the conclusion.
Yes, and as we can see here, back on board with Lois Regnier. Here we go, coming to these final corners, and he is into the pits. So let's see if he can have a clean pit stop as well. That way to make sure that Coutinho doesn't overtake him all the way.
He stared down his camera there. I'm not sure if he's happy with something. I don't want to speculate, but I wonder, will we see a drive-through flash up for him? We'll wait and see. Here is Lucas Guerrero, heading through Spoon Curve down towards 130 euro. Remember, he's got to come back into the pit lane to serve a drive-through penalty. The gap between himself and Coutinho is 17.3 seconds. And that will be severely diminished once he comes in to serve that drive-through. Here's Lois Regnier coming out of the pit lane. This is make a break for the race. Oh, he's okay. He is okay. All is good for Lois Regnier with a minute to go. And he comes out side by side there. That is with Tyler Carr. Carr will give way with blue flags, though. Lois Regnier will come home to win this race. Lucas Werler will take his second trip to the pits in the last 2 laps to serve that drive-through penalty. And I believe Adriano Coutinho will come home in second spot. Here he is, coming past the start-finish straight. And agonisingly for Lucas Werler, he will see Coutinho pass.
Yeah, like we mentioned earlier, especially with Coutinho, he had a little bit earlier on in the race that had a bad spin out and had to climb his way back up a few positions. But again, even though he had that incident earlier on, he's been able to now get all the way back into Coutinho. Unfortunately, just these penalties have been killing these drivers today. I think that's been a little bit more the penalties for some of these drivers than having any really racing incidents with each other.
Yeah, the penalties have really been the big catalyst in this one. With 5 seconds ago, this will be the last lap here. It'll be Lois Regnier who will come home, but Lucas Werler is actually stuck behind someone here. I'm not sure if that is Lozano who he is actually stuck behind. We'll see as they break the sector split time, do a bit of a last lap. Yes, it is. That's Maurizio Lozano who Lucas Werler is behind. So we're going to have a bit of a last lap scrap here for the final podium placing. With big championship points on the line, with prize money on the line. There is a lot to race for between these two. Here comes Lewis to chuck up the inside in towards the hairpin. No, he'll go for the outside approach and give Maurizio Lozano the squeeze. As we can see there, someone else behind, that's David Grains. It's a 3-car fight here for third place as Grains is looking to get the move done here. Here comes Lois Regnier across the start-finish line to take the race win. As you can see in your picture-in-picture, was a solid drive from him today. David Grains not able to make the move stick up the insides. Heading through Spoon Curve though for the final time. There'll be one big braking zone down in towards the Casio Triangle here on the last lap. We've had 40 minutes of racing, and for the final podium placings it does come down to this one. Lozano versus Werler versus David Grains in towards 1:30 for the final time. It's not looking like anyone's close enough, but Grains has pushed so much here to potentially tee up a move. Goes for the outside here on Lucas Werler. That's not going to work in a month of Sundays, unfortunately, on the skillful Brazilian. It will be Lozano who comes home in third position ahead of Lucas Werler and David Grains. But wow, that was dramatic right to the conclusion.
Yes, especially just such a great ending for a race that we've seen early on, really close racing. Kind of some of these cars, these smaller fields get a little bit spread further apart towards the middle of the race, but now back towards the end, having that close finish. Of course, Regnier coming home with the win again. He ran away with this race since pretty much the beginning of the race. As soon as he really got to that first place, he just slowly started pulling away. Was about a half second faster than the other drivers and each lap. So that really just led to him. He held his lines, stayed extremely consistent as he does, and was able to walk away fairly easy this round. But again, we had a lot of good battles in second place, had a few battles there towards the end, battles in the middle of the pack, and just another great day of GT3 racing here at Suzuka Circuit.
Absolutely. A great day of racing here at Suzuka. And Lois Regnier will extend his championship lead with a total race time of 40 minutes 47 seconds. It was a 32-second win over the two Ferraris of Adriano Coutinho and Maurizio Lozano. Lucas Werler in fourth ahead of David Grains in fifth and Santiago Barrios in sixth. Leo Mora in seventh with Tyler Carr in eighth. Then it was Mikhail Markowski in ninth ahead of Tyler McCullough in 10th. Nico Godoy in 11th with Fabien Nogier, of course, bearing out early on. It goes to show how costly a drive-through penalty can be on the ACC game. And here in AMX, that is, of course, a literal meaning, with Lucas Werler losing out on a little bit of his prize money and, more importantly, his championship points here in this evening's action. But Kevin, that turned out to be a pretty decent race around Suzuka.
Yeah, like I said, a lot of Suzuka is known for just the really close races for Formula cars. But, in these GT3 cars, like we said earlier, it's really close racing throughout Suzuka. And there we go, just seeing the overlay of the track. Such a beautiful track. We keep mentioning. I know I'm starting to sound like a broken record. But yeah, these 40-minute heats, I feel like does definitely make things a little bit different than the normal 20, just in as far as, hey, you can make a mistake here. Usually in the 20-minute heats that we're used to in iRacing, people get a lot more aggressive a little bit earlier on. Here, it's a lot more about that consistency. Just don't make a mistake, don't get a penalty, which unfortunately we had a few drivers today just gain those penalties and shifted them back in the running order.
Yeah, we had a good few penalties, a good few drive-throughs, and that turned out to be the deciding factor here in AMX1 ACC. But the good news is for you guys, the action is not over. We'll be back in a couple of minutes' time for more action on iRacing, the traditional AMX platform. But ACC's championship once again takes another twist, with Lois Regner extending his championship lead over Fabien Nogier, who once again had a minimal points race finish. Kevin, how could you sum up that ACC race for us?
I would say in one word, exhilarating. But man, those penalties unfortunately had a different story to say. But again, I look forward to seeing what these drivers come back next weekend. Of course, some emotions there you can see on the driver cams, just being a little upset with themselves in some of these, having those drive-throughs. But I'm sure, from personal experience, failure is the greatest teacher. So just those little mistakes, I'm sure they're going to come back and watch their replays and just really see, what can I do next time to avoid these things? What can I do to really work my way back towards the front of the pack and try to, dethrone our current leader?
Yes, we will have ACC return next Sunday, of course, at 5:50 p.m. GMT. But we're going to take a short break now. If you are bored during the about 20 minutes or so, you can check out all our social channels along the bottom of the screen. Instagram, Twitch, Twitter, /X, Discord, YouTube, TikTok, and of course, amxrace.com. From myself and Kevin, though, we'll be seeing you in a couple of minutes' time for some GTEs around the Nürburgring on iRacing. That one is going to be very exciting. We'll catch you in a few minutes.
Don't fuck it up, cover my tracks. Cover my tracks. Don't fuck it up, cover my tracks. Cover my tracks. Don't fuck it up, cover my tracks. Don't fuck it up, cover my tracks. tracks.
Cover my tracks.
Don't fuck it up, cover my tracks. Don't fuck it up, cover my tracks. Cover my tracks. Don't fuck it up, cover my tracks. Cover my tracks.
To save our home, we must travel through the gateway to find new energy.
A circuit that was originally built to ease unemployment in the Eifel region of Germany has turned into a fan favourite across the globe. It's the Nürburgring GP circuit. And good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to AMX 10. We are back in the GTE class for this evening's action, and we continue our endeavour through season number 4. If you did not watch AMX 1 earlier, it is myself, Evan Dalton, alongside Kevin for this evening's action. Kevin, we had a good ACC race earlier, but how are you feeling now ahead of the iRacing?
I mean, I know iRacing a little bit better than ACC just from competing. But yeah, I mean, I was here yesterday as well with the AMX 10 races. We had a really good close competition the entire race. So yeah, I expect the same today. Obviously today we are in the GTE class. I love these cars. You don't see them quite as much as popular as the GT3s, but these GTE cars, especially as an American, I mean, I just love that the Corvette is still in this class. Just sounds so amazing. And yeah, we should be seeing a lot of the top drivers that have been here all season long. Most of the drivers are here. We have a couple fan favorites that looks like might not be showing up right now, but we'll see as qualifying goes on who still is trickling into the lobby.
Yes, we have a couple of fan favourites yet to join. We have a couple of fan favourites already here. Yes, Fabio Zamperlini is here for those who do enjoy his presence, but we've got a GTE car that has featured at Le Mans in your World Endurance Championship in the recent past, and we have a fabulous track combination for this evening. Before we get started into some housekeeping, make sure to check out all our social channels, which you can see on the bottom: AMX Global Instagram, AMX Global Twitch, on Twitter/X Discord, YouTube, and of course AMXRace.com, as well as our TikTok channel. We will be heading over to Kevin for a bit of a track and car preview, but first we have to run you through some housekeeping. AMX Global League Season 4 started on January 27th and will end on April 21st. We have a $20,000 prize pool and some next level racing gear as this season prize pool. Most right year, and we have a huge variety of car and track combos. Tonight on our iRacing format is a 20-minute qualifier, the top 15 with reverse grid. That is Heat 1 for 20 minutes, another top 15 reverse grid, and then Heat 2 for another 20 minutes. There is prize amounts for every standings, and they are the same for all 3 of the sessions. Driver camps once again required for AMX 10, and balances over $100 will be paid out each month. Race days: Tuesday, Saturday, and Sunday, of course, and we'll run you through the times for those in a couple of moments. But if you are interested to race, you can sign up on amxrace.com. That is amxrace.com. Here's our schedule then. AMX 1, of course, races at 5:50 p.m. GMT, so that's if you're in the United Kingdom or my home in Ireland. Then on Saturdays and Sundays, the exact same. AMX 10 then, that gets started at 7:20 on Tuesdays, Saturdays and Sundays. Once again, in your GMT time zone. Let's take a look at the race prize pool then, shall we? It is $30 for first place in any of our 3 sessions, and it is 20 for second, 18 for third, 16, 14, so on so forth. In our reverse grid races, we have $4 up for grabs for our fastest lap, I should say. The minimum road I rating you need to race in this championship, that is 2,000, and the total per race equals to $500. What a fabulous prize pool that absolutely is. But let's have a look then and see who has taken the majority of that prize pool, and it is Gael Valero, the Frenchman, with $629 so far here in AMX Season 4. He has won 2 races, which is half of the amount the second place man Kieran Harrison has won, with 4 race wins this season. Harrison the most. Aaron Vasquez then in third with 3, with Dino Filippa none unfortunately, but still 4th in the standings. And his current Tincanez, Lassi Crescenze, Fabio Zamperlini, Simori, Pedro Dean, Juan Blenat and Peter Zuba in 12th position. Here is your points standings, of course. It is, wow, look at Chris Lullum, up 12 positions to third place on 148 points. There's your prize on the left-hand side. It is that GT Elite cockpit from Next Level Racing, and Gael Valero currently has his hands on that one, but it is Peter Zuba then in second, Chris Lullum in third, up 12 as we were saying, Jackson Mercedes in fourth, and Aaron Vasquez in fifth, Quarantine Canez in sixth, Simon De Mori in seventh, with Fabio Zamperlini in eighth, Boris Angelovando in ninth, and then Max Verstappen in 10th. Hasn't been a 10th in a while, but he's 10th here in the AMX Global League. But Gael Valero with a healthy margin from points perspective over Peter Zuba. Then, of course, we have our two promotions. We have our D3 promotion. If you purchase entry fees 3 days before the race, and get 30% off. That is all AMX Season 4 races. Then, of course, our season tickets, amxrace.com will have season entry tickets available for purchase. These tickets are for each class, up to a total of 6, and they'll provide 50% off to all races of that purchase class. Those are your promotions. Remember, if you want to get involved, amxrace.com. But now we will head to a quick track and car preview from fabulous co-commentator Kevin.
Awesome, thank you. And yes, like we mentioned earlier, we are at the Nürburgring, one of, if not the most iconic tracks in the world. But it is in Nürburgring, Germany, opened in 1927. And today we're looking at the Nürburgring GP track, which is 5.148 kilometers. I'm not sure if right now, the GP or the Nordschleife, which one is more famous. They each have their own history that everyone really loves about them. But today, again, at the Grand Prix track. And to take a look at also the car class for today, we are going to be running on the iRacing, the GTE cars. These are some of my favorite class cars to watch, to drive, where they range anywhere from 530 horsepower up to 568 horsepower, rear-wheel drive, weighing in about 1,200 to about 1,245 kilograms. So all the different cars, very similar in weight and power, and of course, all made it up to a sequential gearbox. Which I was saying in the last race, there's sequential gearbox, those straight cut gears, they just have some of the best sound in all of motorsports. It's that, especially here today, we'll have some of these roaring V8s. We have a Ford GT, Corvette, we have a couple of BMWs in here. So we look forward to seeing all of the different drivers today. And now we are going to be heading on into qualifying.
Yes, we have qualifying coming up for this evening's action here at the Nürburgring. We ride on board with one of our competitors for this evening with a little bit more of a variety in terms of car choice than we might have had in our ACC races. We have Ford, BMW, Corvette and Porsche on display here this evening, so you can see there is a predominantly German car selection for a German circuit. The German Patriots will be absolutely delighted with that one. But of course, the Nürburgring GP, Nürburgring Nordschleife, it took 14.1 Reichsmarks to construct. Today that translates to about $38 million, or 38 million euros I should say. And then obviously you can do your conversion to that to dollars. That it's quite expensive, quite an expensive circuit to construct, but big news here in AMX 10, he's back in the Ford. Gael Valero, he's back in a Ford. He has been, or had a little bit of an argument maybe with his beloved Ford the past few weeks, but Gael is back in a Ford GTE, and it's good to see him back in what he has been so successful in the past. We saw him warming up the tyres to go on a qualifying run, currently top of the session. He goes into the second part of qualifying trying to go even quicker than that.
Yes, and as you mentioned, I know just even from some of the previous races, just Gael Valero, everyone loves to see him in the Ford. And of course, the most iconic of the Fords, the Ford GT, which, as most people know it from the Le Mans 24 Hours beating Ferrari, that is where Ford really got their name and they're staple in motorsports history with these GT cars. And even most recently, you know, when the Ford GT came back into the Le Mans, that again, they repeated history several years back of beating Ferrari at their own game. But right now, we're going to take a look on board inside of the BMW. So again, a German car on the German track. Couldn't ask for a better pairing. As we come along onto the straight, Diogo Pinto. It's right now currently sitting in 11th in qualifying, but I'm sure he won't stay there long. You know, a bunch of these guys today, nearly 10K I rating, which, granted, you know, I rating is not everything, but it is absolutely a great measure just to show how absolutely insane these guys are when they hit the track.
Yeah, iRacing isn't everything when you haven't got a lot of it, but if you have 10,000 of it, you may as well show it. And Diogo Pinto certainly has that. Currently in 11th, but has not got a proper lap time on the board. Kyle Valero sitting purple sector after purple sector as well in his Ford. Currently top of the session with a 52.213. We have about 7 minutes or so to go left in the session. I imagine there'll be a little bit of shuffling throughout that. We have Peter Zuber in second, Dino Filippa. Then it is Leitner in fourth with Fabulous Fabio Zamperlini in fifth. Boris Ovando in sixth with Jackson Mersenje in seventh. Facundo Rago is in eighth with Pedro Dean in ninth. Simon de Moring in 10th. And then, of course, Diogo Pinto in 11th with Gaston Kilhavy not putting a lap on the board. This is Dino Filippa in a red, grey and white Corvette for this evening. Dino has been successful, of course, in this AMX season, currently fourth in the AMX 10 prize money standings, and he's very quick in a GTE car. Expect Dino Filippa to be up there fighting for this one come race time.
Yeah, and again, Dino Filippa, yesterday he got second in the AMX 10 race. Really close racing all the way to huge battles for second place. Aaron Vasquez was yesterday's winner. Unfortunately, is not on the grid today. But let's see if Dino Filippa, like I said, in that podium. I know he's in second place, but like all of us, you don't like staying in second place. You know, when you're that close to getting that first place victory, I'm sure he's so eager to come out on top today. So we will definitely be keeping an eye on Filippa. Again, right now, currently sitting in third fastest in qualifying, 14 minutes in. So we got just a little bit over 5 minutes left in this qualifying session. And as Dino Filippa coming out here on this straight, looking good, man. These guys are absolutely in the zone right now. Getting those apexes, coming on the straight, and we will see as he comes up. See which drivers are bettering their lap times now. Of course, Kyle Valero still in the lead, but that too, there's only a couple of tenths between the top leader and the next few in line.
As the great Ayrton Senna once said, being second is being first of the losers. So you don't really want 1 second. But when there's $20 for second place, I suppose it's not all bad. As Norbert Leitner jumps up to second position, the Hungarian is all on the grid. As you can see, oh, that was a no hands moment. And from Jackson Mersenje, something not satisfying him in that lap. Dino Filippa then goes to second position. Diogo Pinto is setting the track alight. He's currently improving and expected to go quicker than Gael Valero's 52 flat, heading just up through the right-hander now, the OTL curve, and then in towards the chicane just before the final corner. You can see it's a quick flick left and right. You can use a lot of the curve there on the inside and outside of that corner. Run along this curve, then in towards the final corner and flick it through the right-hander on the power. Don't run too wide, but you can run a little bit wide. There's a little bit of asphalt there, or AstroTurf I should say. Diogo Pinto coming up towards the line. All position 51.8. Job's a good one for Diogo. He is quickest so far and the first man into the 51s.
Yes, and Diogo, I am loving that flame livery. I'm a sucker for the old school hot rods. And you see all the flames. I've run a couple liveries myself using that same with the red, white, and blue. But yes, Diogo Pinto. I mean, really just showing what he can do out here today. And now, as we're following Ovando the fellow American, right now currently right in the middle of the pack in 7th place with a 152.7. We'll see how he's looking to improve that lap time. As comes in, of course, you all can follow along on the stream. Kind of seeing the best sectors down at the bottom too. Purple, of course, fastest in session. Green being their personal fastest, and yellow, them not improving. But we're looking on board, and of course, Ovando looking to improve here. You can see on the bottom left-hand corner the driver screens with that triple screen setup. Kind of a nice setup, and here he goes for a long run. We will see. Can Ovando come back through and improve his time?
Braking for the final chicane was a good third sector from Boris Ovando. Oh, bit of lap traffic there. Well, I was going to say it flustered him, but we seen in the picture-in-picture didn't really. He was planning on backing out of that lap, I think, anyways. Diego Pinto into the pit lane. Going to play no further part here in the session. Gael Valero is on an out lap, so he is still pushing here. Boris Ovando will go on another lap. We're looking at one of our Porsches, a very white-looking Porsche. This is Simon de Mori heading in towards the final corner. Simon, a very quick driver who has suffered with some misfortune maybe in the past, hitting that apex quite beautifully. Is Simon, it's a 51.8 to beat, but he'll just take it if he can prove on his 53.2. No. Well, no, he can actually. Sorry. He timing glitch at the bottom. It's a 53 flat actually for Simon. He jumps ahead of Facundo Rago. As we're seeing a lot of yellow sectors across the board here. Maybe the best laps here in this session have come and gone, Kevin.
Yeah, and with that, we come to our 2-minute warning with the qualifying. So 18 minutes in out of 20. We'll see who is able to put down their last couple lap times. This track, each lap so far we've been running...
Yes, that will be him done with qualifying. We are looking at Peter Zuba heading in towards the chicane, improving the previous two sectors, so this could be a bit of a jump. There's no one out on track in front of him, so the door has opened for Peter Zuba, the European, if he would like to take pole position here today, running in the final corner. Very nice through there. That's an excellent run from Peter Zuba towards the line, and across the line will be a 53 or be a 52-1. Peter Zuba onto the second row. Jumps up to third place. That's $18 in his back pocket if the three out on track cannot improve. Here comes Jackson Resenge heading in towards the final corner. One of three Brazilians on the grid here for this evening. Currently he's telling us that he is tracking at the 5-minute mark, or the 4-minute 20 mark, so I can't really see this being an improvement for Jackson Resenge. No, shockingly, it isn't. Gaston Kohavi isn't going to be able to finish his lap, because once the clock strikes 20, qualifying is done. It's our own version of Cinderella. It'll be Diogo Pinto, though, who will be the most popular man at the ball, because he takes pole position.
Yes, and with that, another great qualifying. And again, qualifying, we will be going into a reverse grid for the top 15. First place, Diogo Pinto. Second place, Gaio Valero. Peter Zuba coming in third. Norbert Leitner into fourth. Fifth place, Dino Filippa. Sixth, Fabio Zamperlini. Followed by Boris Ovando in seventh. Jackson Resenge in 8th, 9th place Pedro Dean, 10th Gaston Culavi, 11th Simon de Mori, and in 12th place to round it out with Facundo Rago.
Yes, an exciting qualifying there. The top 12 just separated by 1.2 seconds. Very, very intriguing qualifying there. As we now head in to our Heat 1 for this evening. We'll have a rolling start for this one. Kevin, how do you see this one going? Is it going to be difficult to overtake? Is it going to be a lot of collisions, or are we in store for a fairly clean race?
I mean, with these guys, they're always battling as hard as they can. So I expect there to be quite a bit of door banging, quite a bit of getting kind of aggressive, everyone with just having that money on the line. It's not all about money as much as it is these guys just extremely competitive. But yeah, I'm really not sure. I feel like it's going to be another one of those races where it's not over till the fat lady sings. And, you know, it's just one of those things that we're going to have, I predict, the front runners will be battling the entire time, and it's going to come down to the last couple laps.
Well, here we go then. We're going to get ready to go on our rolling start. Currently just off the right-hander before the chicane, and you can see number 5 car just not getting moving there. He's okay now, all good. The number 5 car, of course, that is Facundo Rago, who not on pole position here, but he is on the front row. Oh no, he is on pole position actually, sorry. He is ahead of Simon de Mori, I believe, or at least he did qualify last, so it's usually how reverse grids work. In towards the chicane then. It is unfortunate for the Porsches. They are very much near the back, and now we see side by side heading in towards the final corner for the rolling start here. It is AMX 10, race number 16, heat number 1, as we go racing at the Nürburgring. They bolt out for the final corner. It's a great getaway from Facundo Rago down towards turn number 1. Simon de Mori instantly into the slipstream of the Porsche, and now here braking for the first corner. Who's going to be the bravest? Last of the late breakers, it's not de Mori. He's going to try the old switcheroo potentially on the Argentine, as this car's gone round there at turn number 1. Fabio Zampellini and Peter Zuber running into trouble instantly. Very disappointing there for them. The top 2 still side by side, heading in towards turn number 3. De Mori will have the inside for this right-hander. It's a no-go. Facundo Rago holds the lead.
Yeah, and already we're seeing lap 1, just the intense battles already going on for first place between Facundo Rago and Simon de Mori, both of them in the Porsches today. And as we're going back to the row, unfortunately, like you said, we've seen that just previously. Sent Petr Zuba, Zampellini, those guys now currently in the back trying to make a place. But right now, you see the middle of the pack. We got also another battle going on with Felipe just overtaking Pinto right now. So he gains that spot and now loses it back. They're battling side by side right there, just nearly just a couple hundred door to door. We go in. Let's see, who will make a mistake first? That seems to be the theme here in these super tight races, is just looking for any little tiny opportunity. And we see right now Leitner in that 7th position of the number 29 car. Man, these guys, man, I knew it was going to be close racing, but I have a feeling that this is going to be closer than we even expected.
Yes, Norbert Leitner in the 29. Oh, there's a car gone off there into the gravel. That is Norbert Leitner, who's been given a big shove onto the grass. And unfortunately for poor old Leitner, he'll have to rejoin a couple of positions lower. He was actually one of your biggest gainers on the opening lap. It was Diogo Pinto, though, who is your biggest gainer now, up 6 positions. The weaving continues down the main straight. We start lap 2 of 10 here at the Nordschleife, braking for the right-hander. Here comes Gaston Kielhavi in that very chunky BMW, going for the move on the Porsche in towards the Mercedes arena for the second time. It is no good there, unfortunately, for Gaston Kielhavi, as we're looking at Simon de Mori, focused as ever. And the brilliant opponent cam once again giving us, or rejuvenating itself and returning to your screens. It's still very close up the top, though. This race is certainly barely even started, let alone finished.
Yes, and we can see right here at the back of Simon de Mori, just seeing these guys having a pack of about 3 or 4 cars right there, seeing Simon de Mori in the Porsche, looking to catch up on that first place. Like I said, you can tell he's really looking for that first place today after yesterday's race, you know, really looking to top the leaderboard today. And again, it's a 5-car run coming up in your leader pack around this little S turn. All right, who is going to see? First lap, you know, we had that incident. Second lap looks to be pretty clean so far. But again, I do not want to jinx anything. Last time I said that, I jinxed it. And again, just 0.3 seconds between Simon de Mori and Facundo Rago, who is still your leader in this race.
Yes, we head up towards the chicane for the second time. We saw poor Norbert Leitner get shoved onto the grass there the last time round, but all good there for now. And in towards the final corner, Simon de Mori late on. Seems to be very quick through that corner, does Simon, but if he just runs on the grass like he did there, won't necessarily get the best run. He is under pressure from the slipstream of Gaston Kilhavy. Down towards the right-hander in the SART car. Here comes Gaston Kilhavy, late on the brakes once again, with a beautiful overhead shot here off this battle in towards turn number 1. And it just seems like Simon is quicker through the corners. The Porsche, of course, has incredibly strong cornering ability. It is fast when it's driven on the edge, and Simon is certainly on the edge in every corner here. Fabio Zampellini falling to 11th.
Yeah, of course, that too, like you said, just the Porsche really taking advantage of this track's layout. There's a good reason that today we have nearly half the drivers in Porsches, half the drivers in BMWs. They are just two cars that are doing really well, really paired up for this track. Excellent. As we see right here, Diogo Pinto is going to make a move on Rosende, going up the inside. And, oh no, it looks like Rosende goes off into the gravel trap.
Yeah, Jackson Rosende, that was a really weird one. I'm not sure if it was a bit of net code or whether there was an issue under the braking. But Rosende, big slide heading in towards the Dunlop Kerha hairpin. And he, unfortunately, has fallen a couple of positions there. Down to 10th goes Jackson Rosende. We're looking at the battle for the race lead. It's between Facundo Arago and Simon de Mori. We are looking back from Facundo Arago onto Simon de Mori's Porsche. Now we're aboard Simon de Mori's Porsche. And this chicane doesn't really have enough space on the inside to go for a lunge from this far back. It seems like de Mori, though, whenever he does sit behind here, he's just not able to make enough ground through this final corner to lunge one up the inside in towards turn number 1. Diogo Pinto getting past Pedro Dean, so he'll be putting this top 2 under pressure. We are going to start lap number 4 here at 10 in heat number 1. Simon de Mori piling the pressure on to Facundo Arago in towards turn number 1. Is he going to lunge one? No, just sticks behind for the time being. And the top 2 setting almost identical laps, but big talking point is Gael Valero, who's gaining a lot of spots as there is 2 cars off the track at turn number 1. I'm not too sure who they are. We might have to see if there's a replay on that one, but there was a couple of cars gone off there. It's now Gael Valero in 6th, Pedro Zub at 7th, Dino Felipe in 8th, and Fabio Zampellini in 9th. Here is your picture-in-picture of the Jackson Rosende incident.
And you can just see just right there on that outside line. Looks like, again, couldn't tell if they're close enough for a net code, but ended up locking the wheels and just going out into that gravel trap. Unfortunately, losing a few places on that. But as we look back now, we see Kulavi looking to overtake for that second position of de Mori. They're running really close, of course, in that beautiful BMW out here today. And still in the lead, Facundo Arago, only about 0.3 seconds. All 3 of these first, second, third place cars, only about 0.3 seconds off each other. Just following that line, trying to get just a little bit of the slipstream on those longer straightaways. And your leader today, Facundo Arago, we have seen him also doing a little bit of NASCAR racing in the AMX1 races. So there's obviously been quite a few incidents there. NASCAR is always can be a wreckfest at times. But here, like I said, so far we've only seen a couple small mistakes, and we hope to keep it all the way. But again, these guys are all eager for that top spot. Anything can happen. And you can see in the bottom right there, of course, speaking of incidents, that incident at turn 1. Get another look here, and you just see up on the inside, looks like, yeah, again, there is contact, but kind of looks like that netcode, a little bit of iRacing. Sometimes you get glued to the other person, and that's just unfortunate.
As we see, big lunge from Diogo Pinto up the inside, wasn't able to make it work. Yeah, peculiar one, that incident at the first corner. I wonder, will the stewards maybe have a look at that, or will any of our drivers be lodging an incident report? We will have to wait and see. Of course, the incident reports are released a few weeks after the races on the Discord server. Big thanks to the team for their effectiveness on all those, of course. The incident reports are very, very well done, as we're looking on board with Diogo Pinto, looking back from Facundo Arago. It is a multiple perspective battle with, that could go many ways. Simon de Mori is in the middle of the Arago Pinto sandwich, and as of now, just seems like he's lacked a little bit on the pace perspective, and he's just not quick enough to take the race lead here again.
Yeah, of course, like I said, Simon Demori just being sandwiched in between these two. And look, Diego Pinto going to the inside, looking to make a move. Can he get this on Simon Demori? And looks like he can. Diego Pinto going up into that second position. And Simon Demori falling back into third. Again, we'll see, can he hold it though on this next line? You can see someone right here looking for that battle for third place right now happening. And up onto the inside, Kulavi overtakes Simon Demori going door to door. And they're still door to door right here going into the chicane. All right, falling in line, single line. Simon Demori back into that third place, holding it down. Facundo Rago still in first, Diogo Pinto in second.
Diogo Pinto going from back to front. He's gained 10 positions so far in this race and could easily gain one more. Here he goes, I believe, for the race lead. Diogo Pinto in towards turn number 1, late braking into the first corner. He is ahead of Facundo Rago. Simon Demori side by side here. Norbert Leitner is well looking for the move on Gaston Kilhavy as they head up to the second corner now. It is Pinto, Rago, Mori, Leitner, Kilhavy. That is the battle for the top 5. Gael Valero and Petr Zuba once again introducing themselves into this fight. As you can see, Petr Zuba looking for the move on the Ford of Gael Valero, the Frenchman, losing the position there. They're both in 4 places in this race. Can Gael Valero make that 5? Potentially on the inside is Valero. Now heads to the outside here on Petr Zuba. Zuba gets that Jocko Valero wide there, picks up a bit of gravel. Very unfortunate there for Gael Valero. He's down to 7th.
Yes, and right now back on screen, following Simon Demori, who was in second. Again, Facundo Rago was leading the race early on. Back into that second, bumped down the running order. Diego Pinto really doing a great job, getting all the way up 11 places into first. Right now we can see, can Simon Demori hold off Leitner? You can see the rear bumper cam right there. Leitner getting really close to Demori. We'll see if he goes to try to make a move now that we're coming to this next turn. He's getting really close behind this bumper. And I'm expecting once we get up towards the chicanes, you see right here this straightaway, a lot of people just not looking to make anything happen just yet, being a little bit patient. And of course, patience can be a virtue even in these extremely tight races. You don't want to get a little bit too aggressive and lock up or bump the other guy. But as we go into the home stretch, your running order, Diogo Pinto, Facundo Rago, and Simon Demori, your top 3, which Diogo Pinto right now getting a little bit of a gap between him and second place. Of course, still extremely close. Oh, and on to the inside. We have Leitner. Can he hold on to it? So close to that third position, but Simon Demori just holds on to that third place.
That was almost like a mistake from Norbert Leitner. I'm not even sure he meant to go for a double overtake there, but almost did. Almost made it work. You can see there Norbert Leitner and Simon Demori in your pictures at the bottom of your screen. Norbert Leitner driving very well here this evening, up 5 spots to 4th. Qualified well, racing well, not racing as well as Diogo Pinto has sauntered off into the sunset and is looking like he's going to take the heat victory here this evening. Impressive from Diogo Pinto. Battle of a third though still rages on between Leitner and Demori. Can maybe Leitner get a look at the inside towards the Schumacher S potentially? Very difficult corner to make an overtake in. That would be this one here, the left-hander and then the right-hander. No look into there. If anything, it's going to be a turn 1 move again, maybe for Norbert Leitner.
Yes, and of course, that too, I expect a lot of moves to be made on that turn 1. You're just great place to do it. Great place for there to be potentially a mistake made and someone take advantage of that. But again, Leitner just absolutely on the bumper, and you can see him going to the outside right there of Simon Demori, right on the bumper, and braking a little bit later, goes for the move, and he gets it, holds off onto it, into the chicanes, and oh no, Demori off into the grass.
Yeah, Simon Demori hit there, I believe, from, it could well have been Gaston Kilhavy or Petr Zuba. It was just way too optimistic from the driver behind, hit round Simon Demori. And Demori, unfortunately, is down to 10th place. Very disappointing. He's moved from Gael Valero up the inside. This is on Petr Zuba now. Zuba, he's locked the brake and he will lose that position because he's completely muddled up that first corner and now falls down to 6th position and under pressure from Dino Filippa. Filippa's actually hit the back of Peter Zuba. Peter Zuba has become a magnet to contact in the last 3 or 4 corners. Valero, De Mori and Dino Filippa all getting in close proximity of the magnets.
Yes, and some of those incidents, you know that these drivers are not going to be happy about that, especially when they end up just losing those positions, going back towards the bottom of the grid. It's very unfortunate. Of course, our stewards are going to have to look into that, and I'm sure if we might see a replay about it later, just kind of see some of those incidents going on. But right now, Leitner is holding off in the 3rd place, looking to get into 2nd with Facundo Rago. Now we can see on the bumper cam the voracious driver right there in the Porsche. Can he hold off Leitner? Leitner's been looking for any little opportunistic move, and he goes in braking late to the inside. Oh, and he just takes that away. Can he hold on to that 2nd position? You go, and it looks like he will. All right. The Leitner moving up into 2nd position over Facundo Rago. Like you said, Facundo Rago was leading the race early on, fell back to 2nd and now to 3rd. But we know that these drivers, even with only a couple laps left, any little thing can happen to switch that running order again. Diago Pinto getting quite a bit of gap now, about 3.5 seconds between 1st and 2nd place. So again, this battle for 2nd may be going on full throttle these last couple of laps.
Yeah, brilliant overtake there from him. I believe we're going to go to a replay now of one of our more controversial incidents of this evening. Here's your BenQ replay. This is the incident with Simon De Mori. You can just see there. Very unfortunate for Simon De Mori. He's just been sent round. He's not been really given a chance, unfortunately, in that one. Lost 1 position, then got attacked from behind. Lost a whole lot more, so very disappointing there from Simon De Mori. A big thanks to our BenQ sponsors, of course, for the BenQ replays throughout the course of the evening. We're now looking at Gael Valero looking to attack Gaston Kilhavy, who was involved in that incident, of course. I imagine Gaston may receive some form of a reprimand for that one. Gael doesn't know that. He still wants to get the move done and get up to 4th place.
Yeah, and that too of Kulavi, you just got to be thinking, what's going through his head too, because obviously just had come into that corner a little bit too hot. Unfortunately, De Mori just gaining a few positions on that. You always see, obviously, with these drivers, hey, when something happens to you, you're obviously not too happy about it. But not a lot of people think, hey, what's going through the other driver's head too, of like, if they're feeling really bad about that. Sometimes, these guys get a little heated. Things may be intentional at times, but that one, unfortunately, did not look intentional. Just looked like he came in a little bit hot. And now on board with Gael Valero, the number 33 car, as he looks to take a spot up away from Kulavi. Kulavi also following very closely behind Facundo Rago, looking to get back into podium position. Currently still in the last couple laps as we go into the home straightaway. And here we go. White flag is out. We are on the final lap. Who can hold this off? Will we see Diago Pinto? If he does not make a mistake, looks like he may be coming away with that 1st place. But we have this battle still going on, back and forth position. Everyone looking to just get into that podium spot.
Yeah, it was last of the late breakers from Gael Valero in towards turn number 1, and here comes Valero now, trying to hang it around the outside, heading for the Mercedes arena. Has to tuck behind the Team SR AT man of Gaston Kilhavy. Maybe there'll be another go down in towards one of the many hairpins on this Nürburgring GP circuit. Valero still tucked up right behind the BMW in his 4, no gap there for the current championship leader and the Frenchman. Still into the slipstream down towards the Dunlop hairpin. He's just looking a little bit too far back. The chicane might be an avenue of opportunity for Gael Valero through there, as heading towards the Michael Schumacher S's. It's not looking like Valero is close enough as fabulous Fabio Zampolini gets the move done on Boris Abando in the background. I think Abando may have had some trouble there. Then it's a left and a right for Gael Valero and Gaston Kilhavy. Kilhavy's not had the best of runs through there. Then it's the left-hander now for Gaston Kilhavy, who gets the better exit, the Ford or the BMW. Gael Valero is going to have to be the bravest he's ever been if he wants to make an overtake in towards the chicane. Unfortunately, that time has come and gone, I think, for Gael Valero. Will not be able to make that move, but in through the final couple of corners, Diogo Pinto is going to take the overall race win here in heat number 1. We'll have heat 2 coming up. It'll be this grid reversed. Pinto takes the race win. Norbert Leitner will come home in second place. Facundo Rago in third. Then it'll be Gaston Kilhavy, Gael Valero and Peter Zuba. Your top 6 with Fabius Fabio coming home in 7th. Absolute cracker of a race, I think, that one.
Oh, that was such a great race. Again, like, just even though we do have a smaller grid than we normally have for the AMX 10 races, man, it did not matter today. Just absolute great racing. A couple of incidences which the stewards will have to look into for the final results. But yeah, just seeing that once Diogo Pinto got into the lead, he started pulling away from everyone else, and everyone was battling for those second and third positions for quite a while, all the way up into the last lap. Of course, seeing Gael Valero making some positions back. And yeah, I just look forward to see what Heat 2 has to happen. Here we have Jackson Resenje just finishing out the running order in 12th, just finishing up the race. Unfortunately, you know, he doesn't look too happy there, but you know, hey, at least he will be starting pole position for the next heat. He will be in that first position. Hopefully he can have a little bit better race and be in the top lead of the whole race. But now we go back on to, again, reverse grid from the top 15. Here are your Heat 1 results.
Yes, your BenQ session winner is Diogo Pinto as he takes the prize in the first heat. Then it was Norbert Leitner in second position with Facundo Rago in third. Gaston Kilhavy in fourth with Gael Valero in fifth. Peter Zuba in sixth. Fabio Zamperlini in seventh. Boris Ovando takes eighth ahead of Simon de Mori in ninth, who was involved in that incident. And then it was Pedro Dean in 10th with Dino Felipe in 11th. Jackson Resenje then in 12th position. Fastest lap going to Diogo Pinto. If he can take a win and a fastest lap in the second heat, it'll be an entire clean sweep for Diogo Pinto, but that is easier said than done. We have the reverse grid coming up for heat number 2.
Yes, and here we go. Everyone lining up on the grid for heat number 2. And you can see the running order, of course, Jackson Resenje not having the greatest time in the last heat, but now will be in that first position, running on pole into heat number 2, followed by Dino Felipe and Pedro Dean. So, of course, some of these guys that we didn't see quite as much in the last heat, looking to make their stamp in heat number 2, as here we go, the safety car leading them around, getting a little bit of heat in those tires, coming through the chicane, and we're about to get ready here in a couple seconds. So the pace car is off.
Yes, the Porsche pace car peels into the pit lane as we head through the final corner. And now we go racing here at the Nürburgring for the second heat. Jackson Resenje instantly looking to break the toe from Dino Felipe down in towards the first corner, but Felipe's got a brilliant run. The Argentine going to look to the outside in towards turn number 1. There's a good move there from Simon de Mori and Pedro Dean in the background as well. Resenje still holds firm at the front of this field and takes the race lead. You can see Simon de Mori looking to capitalise on a good race start again and get up the inside of Boris Ovando. Ovando losing another position to Pedro Dean as Pedro Dean looks to get the job done as well, but Ovando fights back fiercely into the set problems there for Dino Felipe. He's ran very wide. He's lost the position to Simon de Mori. He's lost the position to Boris Ovando, and he is down to 5th place here is the Argentine. Very disappointing for the man who started on the front row. He's lost 3 positions already in this opening lap, and that is the 1-2-1 of Diogo Pinto, who goes round. The man who won last heat with the fastest lap has a lot more work to do here in this one. He's 6 seconds off the rest of the field.
Yes, and unfortunately, like you said, anything didn't happen here in these races so close. going from winning first place now, unfortunately, in 12th. But I believe that, hey, if he does as good as he was last race, had quite a bit of a lead, he will be able to gain some of that time back, especially once these guys start battling towards the middle of the field. But right now, Petr Zuba in the number 4 car, currently in 7th place. And if you just look at the timing tree, you can see all of these guys just within a couple tenths of a second of each other. We're going to see quite a few battles going up, and you can see the leaders there right there. Resenge still holding on to the lead, followed by Simon Demori and Ovando in that 3rd place. And Petr Zuba in the BMW still looking to make a move. So we go right here seeing Resenge going on the outside and still leading the whole entire first lap. As we go side by side right here down the front straight, and Ovando gets that 2nd place. Can he hold on to it? Let's see, he goes on the inside. And Demori looking for that inside cut. Oh no, brakes, and Demori goes back to 2nd place.
Yeah, Boris Ovando has been sent to the shops heading towards turn number 1. Simon Demori gets the job done. You can see there it was Gaston Kilhavy and Diogo Pinto who were involved in that incident. Poor Gaston Kilhavy has been like a battering ram here today, it seems. He seems to be involved in incidents left, right and centre. Simon Demori, though, looking to challenge Jackson Resenge for the lead of this race. One good quality of Jackson Resenge's is when he gets in front, he tends to be able to control it from the front. Cutting through the field might not be his field of expertise, but he is good from controlling from the front. But he'll have a fierce Simon Demori to fend from, or maybe even a fierce Boris Ovando. We saw Ovando go up the inside in towards the first corner, and then Simon Demori just pulled an unbelievable switchback manoeuvre. Dino Felipe, is he going to look for the move on Petrodine? No, not quite. We'll stay in 5th now.
Yes, and like you said, of course, Resenge, once he is in front, he is proving right now just how good he is at defending his line, how good he is of trying to keep that 1st place position against Simon Demori, who right now is half a second back. So we'll see if Resenge can get out of that slipstream a little bit and start pulling away here over the next few laps. As we go back to the middle of the pack, we can see there Petr Zuba, Zamperlini, Kyle Valera right in the middle. Kyle Valera overtaking Zamperlini. And back to Petr Zuba. All right, and of course that right after the chicanes, man, just so much overtaking opportunities right there. And oh no, we have contact right here. Zamperlini. Oh.
Fabius Fabio will have a few bruises in the morning as he makes a collision or he makes contact, I should say, which causes a collision with Gaston Kilhavy. Diogo Pinto says the fast lap of the race. That's Simon Demori. That's Simon Demori gone off at turn number 1. And woes go from bad to worse here this evening as the German Austrian is down the order. Extremely unfortunate for Simon Demori. He's had an evening to forget here at the Nürburgring. That allows Jackson Resenge to get a 1.3 second lead on the entire field. The biggest gainer in this field now so far this race is Norbert Leitner. He is top of your makers and shakers. He's up to 7th spot, but this one has been probably even more chaotic than the first race, as we see the Simon Demori Boris Ovando incident in towards turn number 1. Let's have a look. Bit of door-to-door rubbing. Oh, and that completely sends Simon into a half spin. I think there's only one thing to blame for that one, and that might just be netcode.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for that. Of course, we've seen on that last lap, both Simon Demori dropping down 6 places, as well as Zamperlini now 6 places from the start. But Diogo Pinto is just overtaking Simon Demori again, and now back to the middle of the pack with number 8, Dino Felipe, currently in that 4th place, looking to make a move, going up into 3rd on that Pedro Dean. We'll see. Oh, again, a little bit of a rocking on those chicanes, and we will see, did that slow down just enough? Nope, he's still holding on to that 4th place, fighting off Petr Zuba and Gael Valero short lead behind him. As we come back into the home stretch, we can see your current leaders, Jackson Resenge, which the lead has fallen to about a 0.8 between him and Ovando, followed by 3rd place with Pedro Dean. We go into turn 1. Is anyone going to look to make the move? And we do see Felipe overtaking Zuba just a little bit. And all right, these guys really close battling. We'll see. And they hold this off.
Dino Felipe battling with Pedro Zuba. You can see Felipe there in the Corvette. He's running a little bit wide maybe through that corner, but he's controlled it nicely and still chases after the Porsche of Pedro Dean. Pedro driving a solid race. He's not gained or lost anything. He is staying solid in third spot, but looking like he could be under pressure from Dino Felipe. We have two cars into the pit lane. That is fabulous Fabio Zappolini and Diogo Pinto. Very disappointing for Diogo, considering the success he had. I think I might have commentated, Kirsten, when I said he could take a Grand Slam here and lead every session with the fastest laps.
Yeah, of course, and we're seeing there with Dino Felipe currently down 2 places from where he had started. So, man, but this, again, we are not even halfway through the race, and there's just been so much action going on, so much. So we will see over the next little bit more than 6 laps of what these drivers can do. Again, Resenje, that lead falling back down now, really close. Obando super close to him, and now, of course, on board with Dino Felipe looking to overtake Pedro Dean. And nope, has a little peak, but now they're going into the chicanes. Coming out of it, who's going to have the better X? These guys are very well matched. So, again, right here into the next corner, have a little peak right there again. And, man, you just have to know just right there of Pedro Dean looking in his rearview mirror, feeling a little bit of pressure. But, of course, these guys do extremely well under this type of pressure. And so we go back into turn 1. We're going to see a move made here. See Jackson Resenje still fighting off Obando. Obando up into P2, but is slowly closing in on Resenje. But like we said earlier, Resenje just a master of being able to defend off those other drivers.
Yeah, we see the bottom right.
Yeah, sorry. The Obando incident was going there in the bottom right. And Diogo Pinto.
Once again, Dino Felipe looking to try a move. Here he goes now, finally, on Pedro Dean. Dino Felipe up the inside, bit of contact between the Porsche and the Corvette. But Felipe gets the job done on Pedro Dean. That's going to allow Pedro Zuba to pick up the scraps, and he'll take a position as well on Pedro Dean down in towards the right-hander. As Pedro Zuba up to fourth, a big beneficiary of that contact. Dino Felipe up to third now, and is going to look to chase after Boris Ovando. Heading then through the S up the hill. It is now still a very tight battle here, as this is now Gael Valero looking for the outside on. Is this Norbert Light? No, this is actually Pedro Dean. He's looking for the move on. Wasn't able to get it done, and there is a battle for the race lead as well. Resenje now finally under pressure from Boris Ovando behind as well, in towards the chicanes. Look at this from Gael Valero. Going for fifth place, I should say. Not quite the race lead just yet, as he got the job done. Yes, he has. Gael Valero ahead.
All right, and a bit of that, of course, yes, Gael Valero, the only Ford out there, now sitting in that 5th position, number 33, looking to catch back up to Pedro Zuba. There's a little bit of a gap between those two. Can he do it? Of course, right here in turn 1, making up a little bit of time, hitting that apex, very nice. And Zuba also right behind Felipe. Let's see. Let's run the order. We'll see as we are into lap 6. I think now we're still having a battle between first and second as well, as we go back to Jackson Resenje. Still fighting off Obando. These two have been battling it out last couple of laps. We're just waiting, and we're seeing, what is Obando looking to do? Is he going to try and be a little bit more aggressive, try to force that opening? Or is he just going to sit back a little and just kind of hope that Resenje makes a little bit of mistake, just having that pressure on him? But there we can see in the bottom left-hand corner with the opponent cams, Jackson Resenje just absolutely in the zone. And of course, oh no, you see Obando, a little bit of a handshake right there. I don't know if he might have made a little bit of a mistake. But of course, great battle right now for P1.
Yes, it's Jackson Resenje under some amount of pressure heading through the corners. Boris Ovando may go for this one in towards the chicane. Outside or inside, he picks his choice. He's looking for the outside. He's now looking back in towards the outside again. No go there for Boris Ovando. Bit of airtime almost for Jackson Resenje heading through the chicane. It's looking like it's a matter of time, however, for the American to maybe take the race lead starting lap number 7 for the final corner here at the Nürburgring, down towards turn number 1. Dino Filippa still battling with Peter Zuba as well. Ovando into the slipstream, weaving they go down the straight. Just seems like the Porsche has a huge straight line speed. As well, we are looking at the battle for P3. Dino Filippa, a big lunge line here on Peter Zuba. Dino Filippa, that is job done. But once again, Filippa just making a slight nudge with a car that caused them to lose 2 positions. It was Pedro Dean. It's now Peter Zuba. It is Resenje, Ovando, Filippa, Valero, Zuba, your top 5.
Yes, and Gael Valero really looking to push it now hard to try and get past Dino Filippa. That last lap, Gael Valero actually set the fastest with a 152.4. Of course, Gael Valero in that Ford, you know, he absolutely, every time he hops in that Ford GT so far, he is just an absolute monster on the track. And we still see right now on board Ovando also looking to take back with Jackson Resenje. And I mean, we will have to see. This battle may absolutely go down to the line all the way through the next few laps. Again, having that picture-in-picture for everyone, being able to see the battle for P3 as we are seeing the battle for P1, P2, P3. Everyone, a little bit of a gap right now, though, between Ovando and Filippa, that P2 to P3. So we might just be seeing these battles right now. Again, though, Gael Valero, although he has been catching up to try and get onto the podium, Peter Zuba is right behind him as well.
Here comes Boris Ovando up towards the chicane outside for the American. No, has to brake earlier, just maybe to try the switchback maneuver and to get the better exit. Yes, he's got a way better exit than Jackson Resenje in towards the right hand. Boris Ovando has bided his time beautifully and takes the race lead, but Resenje is going to fight back here for Tony Kanaan Esports. He's looking for this one in towards turn number 1. He's got the better straight line speed maybe than Ovando. It's for the outside. It is a test of bravest and latest on the brakes. Jackson Resenje is going to go the long way round, and round goes Boris Ovando in towards the first corner. Ovando, just as he takes the race lead, it is stripped off him. Boris Ovando is down to 6. Jackson Resenje leads the race by 2.1 seconds. Controversy here at AMX race 16, apologies, race 16.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and we're just gonna have to see what the stewards say about that. If we might have to see a little bit of replay again later on, just to see exactly what happened. Of course, I mean it's just aggressive racing, and unfortunately, Ovando had finally gotten to that P1, now following all the way back, currently still in P7. Resenje, he might be walking away with this one if he doesn't make a mistake. But again, we will have to see, what the stewards say about that, if there was any penalties to be applied to either drivers. But right now, Leitner currently sitting in the 5th position, looking to make a move on Gael Valero, the number 33. But wow, man, unfortunate that last few laps to have an incident like that happen just between our top 2. And of course, luckily, it didn't end up taking out the whole field. But right here, Gael Valero having a little bit of pressure from Leitner. We'll see if he can keep that 4th spot, a little bit of gap between Valero and Zuba. So it looks like the podium, we may be also seeing a battle for 2nd as well later on. And, oh, almost going into that a little bit hot. Got really close to the back of Valero.
You see the picture-in-picture, the unfortunate moment where Boris Ovando had the race lead from him, an incident with the Tony Kanaan Esports driver of Jackson Resenje. Very, very unfortunate, as here in towards turn number 1 it is Dino Filippa against Peter Zuba. Once again, Norbert Leitner down the inside on Gael Valero. That is Leitner up 7 positions to 4th. This is a brilliant bout from the Hungarian. He has driven phenomenally so far here this evening, and well, he has this evening because we only have a lap and 3/4 left, so there's not an awful lot to lose for Norbert Leitner unless it all went spinning down the drain, but he has driven phenomenally. Gael Valero then in 5th, looking to extend his championship lead over Kieran Harrison and Aaron Vasquez, because they're not here this evening, so Gael doing a great job. But on Filippa, About 7-8 tenths of a second for one of Jackson Mercedes in the lap. It's not over.
Absolutely, as right now following on Leitner, who, last race had a bit of an incident. Now he's looking to, again, get back to that podium spot. So far, Leitner, he is up 7 positions from his start. And still currently, though, right behind him, Gael Valero still has the fastest lap. So, these guys are absolutely fast today on this second heat. Like we said, it been a little bit more dicey on the second heat from the first heat. I think that's just the nature of this. And as we still hear, Obando, of course, having that incident previously, he is trying to claw his way back up through the rankings, and we might just have to hopefully hear from Obando later on to see, kind of what happened from his point of view as well. Looking to make that overtake on Pedro Dean in the Porsche. But man, as we go into the final turn, and here we are, white flags out, we are on lap 10 of 10 here in the AMX 10 race 16.
Yeah, white flag is raised to indicate the penultimate lap, not that they've given up, because no one is giving up, especially Boris Ovando, as he still fights on to try take 6th position off Pedro Dean. Pedro looking to take 5th position off Gael Valero, as you can see. Facundo Rago still on the back of Boris Ovando. Dino Felipe is gaining rapidly, and Jackson Mersenji up the front, so keep an eye on that gap. If you are using, of course, our timing screen, which you can get in the YouTube chat or the QR code that does come up on your screen. Still, Ovando just not able to make too many inroads on Pedro Dean in his BMW. It might be just too little too late here. But battle for the race lead. One mistake from Mersenji, and he might be swallowed up here from Dino Felipe. Felipe already 3/10 of a second gained here on this lap alone for the Michael Schumacher S for the final time. Jackson Mersenji just soars through here. He's looking good for the race win, despite Dino Felipe's vast efforts or to try take it off him. As we said, Mersenji very good at leading from the front. He's doing that excellently, looking to try and win here on towards the final chicane for the final time.
Yes, and looking at, of course, Mersenji just been battling for that first position all the time. Ovando had that first position just slightly until these two ended up getting contact, and Ovando going back, which is back down to 7th position right now. But Mersenji, will he hold off here as we go through the final turns against Dino Felipe? And it looks like he will. That looks like he's going to be Jackson Mersenji coming in first, followed by Dino Felipe and Petr Zuba in third. Man, what an amazing race. A couple unfortunate incidents there towards the end that really, changed up that lead. But wow, Heat 2 definitely a lot more heated than Heat 1 from just seeing these drivers.
Yeah, it really was a heat here. It was absolutely heated, and we saw some dramatic racing. Now we're just looking at fabulous Fabio Zampellini, just heading for the final corners at his own pace to come home to win. Oh, not come home to win. Sorry, come home to finish 11th. But it's a win for everyone because we get to see Fabio Zampellini drive for a little bit. He's one of the fan favourites here in AMX. He'll come home in 11th position. Unfortunately, it wasn't really the E for him, but it's good to have Fabio back, because I know he was having some issues with his iRacing here and there, so it's good to have Fabio racing with us this evening. But here is your full race results, ladies and gentlemen, from the Nürburgring. Of course, if you stick with us after our interviews, we'll have the full evening results for AMX 10, but here is your full Heat 2 results from the Eifel region, and the Nürburgring did provide some fantastic action. It was Jackson Mersenji who became your BenQ session winner for this evening. Dino Felipe in second, with Petr Zuba, Norbert Leitner, Gael Valero running at the top 5. Gael Valero also picking up the fastest lap of the race. Pedro Dean in 6th, and it was Boris Ovando in 7th, with Facundo Rago in 8th. Simon Tamori in 9th, with Gaston Kohavi in 10th. Fabulous Fabio Zampellini in 11th, and then unfortunately Diego Pinto found out of action fairly quickly. It was disappointing for him. But Kevin, great evening of racing, I think.
This was, I'd say, one of the best AMX 10 races we've had so far. Again, like we said, hey, we had a little bit smaller grid today, but I've noticed just some of these smaller grids just leave that much more opportunities for the leads to change, for that whole grid to just shift around. Of course, Kyle Valera with the fastest lap and in the only Ford, he was one of the standout drivers today. Unfortunately, the theme of this race did seem of just having those incidences that, unfortunately, I do not feel bad for the racing stewards having to figure all of that out as we rate on the final results for the overall life. But I said, unfortunately, there's going to be a few possible penalties with those. Those are some extremely close racing, a few spin outs, a few people. We had seen earlier on Simon Demori. He was doing so well in the front and ended up just getting into contact and unfortunately spun off through the chicanes and lost a lot of positions. But hey, that is just these GT cars. Absolutely intense.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that's how the cookie crumbles sometimes, really, isn't it? Some races are good, some races are bad. Some races you're clear at the front, like Jackson Mersenje was, and then some races you're involved in some contact. But we're going to hopefully have a few interviews coming up for you in a couple of moments' time. But Kevin, who was a standout performer for you this evening?
Well, like I mentioned earlier, I kept seeing Kyle Valero. He kept putting up the fastest lap, especially that heat 2, time after time. I just keep saying the purple the purple lap indicator coming up, running 152s. A lot of these drivers, running 152s, 153s. But of course, I was extremely impressed. Jackson Mersenje, didn't do too well in the first heat, but came back to win it in that second one. Just absolutely defending for his life the entire time. And, as well as just seeing Dino Filippa also, following up closely behind him. Just, man, all over the place. There's so many. You could pick nearly any driver today and just see, other than those incidents, just having an absolutely great race.
Yeah. Many a driver with a good race. A big thanks to our sponsors, of course, who are listed just below us now. Let us know your thoughts on the race in the stream chat as well. A big thanks to you for joining us for this evening's action, of course. We will have some interviews coming up for you in a moment. Just a quick delay on those, though, but we will be getting going fairly soon. Kevin, did you enjoy tonight's track combinations?
Yeah, you know what? Nürburgring, whether it's Nordschleife or whether we're on the Grand Prix circuit, it is always just, there's going to be amazing racing. Obviously here in the GTE cars, we've seen some of these drivers, coming up in the AMX 10 for next season. Who knows what will happen, but we've had a lot of Formula One fans chatting away in the chat, obviously hitting a lot of the Grand Prix tracks this season. So we'll have to see, obviously GTE, one of the favorite classes for everyone. A lot of fan favorites today, some fan favorites missing. But yes, we will see who we will try to go into the interviews right now. I believe we have Dino Filippa to be interviewed after this race. So we will see how this race kind of turned out from his point of view.
Yes, we will go to an interview with Dino Filippa now. Hello, Dino, can you hear me?
Hello, Evan. Yes.
Firstly, congratulations on the great result this evening. If we just take a quick look at Heat 2, you were very quick in those last couple of laps. Did you feel, I might be able to get a win here?
Yes, I think the Corvette has really good pace, but not good speed on the straight. And this is so difficult to defend to the other guys, because on the middle of the straight, the other cars goes too much faster than me, and that cause I have to defend too much and lose too much time. But yes, I think if I don't make a mistake on the first lap, I could win.
Then we saw maybe a few incidents out there this evening. How did you find driving standards maybe out there? There was a couple of bumps and bangs, but was it all fair in your eyes, or do some people maybe have a little bit to improve on?
Yes, I think this race are really aggressive because we have to recover too much position on on a few laps. I think the guys are really good to racing. All the contacts are because these races are too much short, I think.
And just one more quick thing, maybe not so much AMX related, but maybe in the future. Rain was announced that it is now finally in iRacing. Are you hoping we get a couple of wet AMX races maybe in the future?
Yes, I think the rain in AMX are one more thing cause more contacts and more spins and these things, but it's funny. This I think this race is for funny. All the guys want to win, obviously, but these battles and races are really good, and this is not usual on the official races. I think the rain is a really good thing on these races.
And just finally, quickly, how come you chose the Corvette tonight? There was not many Corvettes out there. I think the Corvette sounds beautiful. How come you chose that one for this evening?
Yes, I chose this car because one friend told me choose the Corvette. This is Nico Baron. He's racing on Corvette official on the real life, and well, I think this car are not too bad, but I think the little thing is too bad is on the final speed, but this is funny to drive.
Yeah, I think Ben Keesling would also be a big advocate for the Corvette. Dino, thank you very much for joining us. Greatly appreciate it, and congratulations once again on the race, on the podium.
Okay, thank you, Evan. Thank you for all the MX, and see you on the next race. Bye.
We shall be hearing from Dino hopefully in the future again. We are going to try and get an interview now with Boris Ovando, hopefully, and we can hear from his thoughts after. Look, what was a dramatic race for him. Let's call a spade here. He might not be too happy with how things went, but now we will head into the interview. Boris, can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Firstly, congratulations on the great pace this evening. You were really quick on that second race, but I think there's a big talking point for that one. That is the incident with Jackson. How was it from your perspective? What happened?
Honestly, I don't really think it was a racing incident. It was just me. I think I downshifted a little too early to first gear, trying to get the rotation on the inside line because I knew he was going to be on the outside. And it just didn't work out. Nothing wrong that he did. He was defending pretty hard throughout the race. I was trying to be patient to keep the gap. But at the same time, I knew I had a little bit more pace. And if I could get in front, for sure I could pull away even more. So I was just trying to balance the two things out. Didn't quite work out for the first win, though, fortunately.
Yeah, it was 8th and 7th for you this evening. Do you think with your pace you could have had a little bit more?
I think so. Probably need to minimize the mistakes a little bit. I was involved in a couple other incidents too, so I'll clean that up a little bit. But so far, it's been a great experience driving in the league, racing against Verstappen a couple of times. It's definitely been fun. I'm glad I'm part of it.
Nürburgring, of course, a favourite for some, the track hated by others. How do you find it? What's your take on the Nürburgring?
I've raced it many times, have a lot of experience on it, so it's just one of those tracks that you know once you do so many laps. But I wouldn't say it's a favorite of mine or something or a track I look forward to. Tracks like Suzuka, for example, that's one of my favorite tracks. Road Atlanta, Spa, obviously those are tracks I really look forward to. But Nürburgring, it can have some good racing, but it can be tough to pass as well. So.
We've had a few American drivers, of course. In AMX we have yourself, Tim State. how good will it feel for you maybe to become one of the first big American names in AMX, because you've got the pace for it?
You know, I hadn't really thought about that. I just joined because one of my teammates said, "Hey, this looks like a good racing opportunity. Keep developing." And I said, "Okay, let's try it." And so far, so good. As far as being only American, I think Tim is there as well. Obviously, not the same competitive level. I'm gonna continue to try to improve and get good results. And yeah, I live in Texas, but I'm originally from South America. I'm Bolivian. Born and raised in Bolivia, but lived here in the US for a lot of my life.
We just had a comment go across the bottom of my screen saying Boris driver of the day. Do you agree with that?
If I would agree with it if I had won the race, to be honest. But I would give it to Jackson. He deserves it with the win. He defended hard, and yeah, I would give it to Jackson there.
Boris, thank you very much for joining. Greatly appreciate it, and a pleasure to hear from you.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
We will hopefully be hearing from more. And we head back now to another American, Kevin. Great to hear from the drivers. Great to hear from Boris and Dino. Despite the incident, Boris very, I suppose you could say, happy with how this evening went. Very hopeful for the future.
Yeah, of course, like we said, just an unfortunate incident. It looked like Boris might have had it there during the last few laps, and then just made that contact, shifted the order back down. And, Jackson Resenje, both of them, absolute great drivers. I can't wait to see those two battle it out on the next race. So again, but I believe we do have the results ready. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at the official overall results for our AMX 10 Race 16. And of course, in first place, your overall winner today is Diogo C. Pinto. Coming in second place, Gael Valero.
Yes, it is a tie for second place between Gael Valero and Norbert Leitner. $52 each. Peter Zuba in third with Jackson Resenje in fourth. Then it is Dino Felipe in fifth, Facundo Rago in sixth with Gaston Kohavi in seventh. Then it is Boris Avando in eighth with Fabio Zamperlini. Sorry, my tab figure at the bottom is covered. Who's in ninth? I think it's Fabio Zamperlini in ninth position. But Diogo Pinto, despite his misfortune in the final race, is your race winner for this evening. A great effort from Diogo, I think, Kevin, even with the bad luck in the final race.
Oh yeah, of course, we've seen even during qualifying, just Diogo absolutely just nailing down some really quick lap times. And it's just great to see, unfortunate to see these racers drop out at any level. We love seeing them battling it out. So that's just very unfortunate when, they have an incident like that or something happens, connection sometimes. But yes, absolutely great day of racing. And we will be back on Tuesday for another AMX 1 and AMX 10 race. We look forward to seeing maybe some of the drivers that weren't here today showing up for that race on Tuesday. But overall, great day, great tracks, both AMX 1, AMX 10. It's gonna have to go back and watch the replay and just see, there's some battles that you just have to get posted to the social media, to the highlights.
Yes, make sure you go check out those social medias as well. All on the bottom: Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, Discord, TikTok, YouTube, and our website, amxrace.com. But from myself and Kevin, a big thanks for joining us here this evening. It's another fabulous night of racing, and we go on to another great week of AMX Season 4. It's been fabulous so far, and it will be even more fabulous than fabulous Fabio Zamperlini himself in future weeks. From myself, though, and from the AMX crew, a big thank you for joining us here this evening, and we shall see you very, very soon. Tuesday, 5:50 GMT. Be there. Stay safe, stay well, and we'll see you next time.